What's up, everyone? Sorry we haven't had one of these things in a while. It's summertime, and usually, we get busy and fishing or doing something. So today, we got Tyler Kraft and we got Kevin Williams. If you want to introduce yourself, you don't probably need an introduction.
Yeah, I mean, you just introduced me, but hey, everybody, I'm Tyler. We're just here to talk about some winter steelhead and kind of everything that's going on right now. I mean, we've been away at this for a while, but just got through the holidays and we're hanging out, getting together, and rivers are blown, so why not talk about some winter steelhead fishing?
That's perfect. Kevin, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Kevin Williams, the Northwest Bound Outdoors Guide Service here in Oregon, licensed guide in Oregon. Just in static right now, catching a lot of steelhead. It's been a good season so far. Start. Looking forward to many more. And yeah, can't wait to get back out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty crazy. I think a lot of people are shocked that the fish have shown up early, but is it early?
Yeah.
Like, do we say it's early?
No, but we're seeing just a good beginning. That's what it is. I mean,
Get them out fishing.
we went from, at least where I'm at, I mean, not having too much fish around to about 3 weeks ago. There was a week where it was game on.
Yeah,
There
it was
fish around.
everywhere.
Then we had a big rain, kind of slowed it down. And then we had some okay fishing, kind of a lull.
Yeah.
But there was fish around, and now we have obviously the big rain that we just had yesterday on Christmas and today. It's like, when is it going to stop?
Yeah.
We have a couple more inches on the
We
way.
still have more
It's
rain
like,
coming.
yeah, oh, yeah. So, but with that, I mean, here in Oregon and Washington, there's a few rivers that are controlled by dams. So if you have a flood, there's still some fishing to be done.
There's still some
yeah.
high water.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a plunker, hey,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
you're fishing right now.
Yeah, no, there was a few plunkers on my river today when I was actually headed down here this afternoon. Saw them right there dark.
Yeah,
Headed over here.
Yeah.
So,
like I checked the local spot, and there was the old boys still grinding it. They want it.
oh, yeah. This is the time. Next few days in between the rains when the river drops out just a hair and it just
Yeah.
has a little bit of color and you can fish.
Mhm.
Those are the times to be out there.
Well, should we get into some
Yeah, well,
setups?
Yeah, well, first, let's talk about some sturgeon. You got the leaders out
Oh,
and everything.
jeez, dude.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to talk about
Oh,
first.
here we go.
We have steelhead for the next, about 5 months?
5 months.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, we have sturgeon for probably 2 days. I mean, that's going to be it. One for sure.
One for sure.
Probably just 2
You
days.
might have another day or two up in the Dallas pool, though, because
The
Yeah.
Dallas Hole
they
did
changed
say
the length, so it's going to be.
Yeah. So if you go a little bit more east, but for the most of us living in the Portland,
Where everyone's
metro
gonna be
area,
at.
yes, we will have a million best friends here coming next Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, side by side.
I think we are going to see a lot of people. So
Oh yeah, a lot of
Chief.
people, depending on conditions. But yeah, go over how you're setting this up.
how I set it up, everyone, you can skin a cat 3,000 ways, but this is how I do it. See if you want to go to table cam there. So I just usually, I hand tie a lot too, but Brad makes these easy. I mean, you can go to your local sportsman store and get hand tied. To the T.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have to do this, but I'm a fan of the six bead chain. I don't know why, but you could probably just tie it to the hook. I don't know. Something I've always done, and it never seems like it does anything wrong on catch down. And then big fan of clips with, I'll have like a jar full of, pre-ties that are ready to go. And then it's just pull it out of the jar, clip it on. And then sometimes what I do is say that you'll come to your main line. You could use, however you're going to set up your anchor weight. Your weight, if there's endless, you could use
So on your main line, are you going down to a 6-speed as well? Then you're
No, I'm running just a swivel. I'll use
just a big swivel.
just a big swivel, and then I'll have what I've done in the past too is I'll actually run. I'm kind of probably going to go away from this, thinking about it, because I do run a 6 chain from my main line, but I'll use like a VIP line lock.
Yeah.
With your
Yep.
just like how we're trolling 360s. It's almost the same simple setup. Or I'll just use a line lock, throw my weight, and then
Yeah. So some
tie it
sort of
right
slider.
there.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
back in the day growing up, that's all we would do.
Yeah.
It's like a little barrel swivel and obviously a little dual lock and slide it on your line.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the VIP things, I think Short Bus makes one. as
Short
well.
bus makes
But
one.
any of those line locks, they're so tricky.
They're-
What we're doing.
Oregon Tackle makes I
Oh, yeah.
love the Oregon Tackle ones because
No, those are good ideas. That's why I'm fishing mine. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible.
Simple as possible. I mean, I think actually, like what we were talking about was just you could get away with, get away from this, and just literally hook it to the hook, and then bam, you're on, and then that's it. Cast it out.
What size of hook do you like using?
It varies. Like I usually run a big.
Going up there next Wednesday. What is James going to have for a hook size?
I'll probably run a 5.
Yep, that's what I'm going for.
Like a 5.
I'm not going for nothing crazy. A 5/0 should be just fine.
5 is.
Yep.
5 is probably.
Yep.
Like looking at these, sometimes I'm like, man, if I want to run a 6, but I've noticed a 5.
It works out.
It
Especially
works out
for a lot of these fish. I mean, yeah, you do get some nicer ones that are really close to our like length that we can keep, but a lot of them aren't there. A lot of them are like 38, 42, 44.
A lot of shakers.
They're not giant fish, So having those 5/0s are perfect.
Yeah.
And you just get a good hook in them.
If I want to catch like a 13 footer, I'm definitely want to slap a bigger hook. But I don't want those. We want
that's
those.
why for the people watching, that's why we're trying to get the expertise.
Yeah.
Man, next Wednesday when you go out, what are you going to be set up with?
5/0 for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm rolling with. And
Kevin, what are you going to?
5 or 6/0.
Yeah.
I got some both.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of just, whatever's in the jar. That's what you get.
And 5 or 6 is totally fine.
Fine.
Just like you're saying, with the Brads pre-type leaders, that's all I'm using. I'm keeping it simple. We only get a sturgeon fish a couple days a year anymore, unless you're into catch and release. So for me, like, man, what is simple? What can I go buy? And what makes this easy?
And cost effective.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like if we're, steelhead, you can get crazy amounts of money. You could, you could go, sky's the limit. And then, salmon trolling, you can go sky's the limit. Sturgeon is kind of, it's bare necessities.
Oh yeah, because you're just putting stuff on the bottom. You just want to lay nice and flat on the bottom, have the right smell, and as long as everything goes right next week and the weather's appropriate,
it's going to be good. It should be really good.
A good time.
Still being a little cold though.
What's your guys' go-to bait for sturgeon?
Squid for one.
Yeah.
Do we want to say that or?
Well, I mean, there's like probably some secrets, but I mean, like he's saying, squid, sand shrimp, stuff like
herring. Your typical.
But a lot of it's like, what are you know what I mean? We won't go into it, but a lot of it's what are you putting with it?
What are you putting with it? There's tricks. There's tricks.
Exactly.
There's definitely tricks.
Yeah.
No,
and we all have our own. I'm sure that I'm sure out of the three of us, there's probably like a lot of similarities.
But there's
some differences that you're doing different from me. I'm doing different from
Everybody has their favorites.
Yeah, and that's what makes us all doing our own thing, which is awesome.
Hopefully we can fish for them more than 2 days, but
well, as long as you go further east, like what you're saying, I mean, then you'll have more
opportunities. That's what I said at Dallas Pools last year.
Yeah, are you gonna do some of that fishery? Yeah. So I mean,
like I have a couple of people on a boat trip on the 18th.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about if I can be closed down or not, but I think it's going to last longer because they changed the length from 43 to 54.
Yeah.
Instead of 38 to 54.
So there you go, people.
Hopefully.
If you're looking to get out a little bit later than a couple days in the Bonneville pool, you might want to go with you a little bit more east.
That scale right there, 38, 39, 40 inches is pretty easy to get. You get that 43 range, it gets a little...
Exactly.
It gets a little tighter.
But then when you do get up to, you're getting really nice quality fish. That's the thing about it.
You catch a 38, you're getting a little slab that's like this.
Oh, yeah.
You're not really getting much meat off.
No. Exactly. You're getting a little bit better quality fish, a little bit bigger. I mean, that's all. It all plays a part, and especially going to travel that far, at least when you do get one.
It's worth its while.
Yeah.
But if it's at the end of the day...
I get you. But the opportunity is there, and the fact that we get to chase these things, and we'll see. I mean...
It does suck that we are limited to, only 2 days pretty much throughout everywhere now.
Yeah, but it's just the competition, like back when I was a kid, you used to fish these things all the way into May. Like May would usually be cut off, and it was 7 days a week in the pool, and you just pick your nice days. I can remember going up there, and it's like, man, even say in January when you'd have your nice days and it's early on and it just opened, you'd maybe see 4 or 5 boats. Maybe on like nice days.
Yeah.
There was a lot of times where you just didn't see anybody.
Yeah, that green sturgeon back then too. You keep green back then. It's all white.
And now it's just turned into a really popular fishery, but it's a lot of fun and on the right weather, and you can get around the right group of boats. Everybody can have a good time.
Yeah.
And I really hope we all land on them for everybody's sake, because then it makes it a lot more fun.
Makes fun
in and out of there. But regardless, as long as the weather's nice, it's gonna be a good time.
It's going to be a good time.
Indication says it's gonna be cold. It depends what you look at. Some are saying we could have a possibility of snow, and I think that's maybe how far east you're going. Maybe like Hood River, maybe snow. I mean,
Wind forecast is great though.
The wind forecast,
It's gonna
is-
be around
is-
32.
and then also like
perfect.
watching the news in the valley, they're pretty confident. Next Tuesday, Wednesday is gonna be dry, and we're not gonna have rain till
Yeah.
Wednesday afternoon. So I'm thinking we're gonna get
lucked out.
lucky and have a little window, but with that's going to be why we only get probably 2 days out of this deal.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I think with that too is be courteous at the boat launch. There's going to be every boat launch out there is going to be crazy. Let's all have a little patience.
It's going to be a madhouse.
It's going to be a madhouse. Honestly, if you're worried about the boat launch flowing through, I would show up early.
Yeah. I don't know how early is early, but I mean, if you want to celebrate New Year's Eve at the boat launch, I'll be there.
Yeah, I think I will too.
I'll be around.
Yeah. So if you guys aren't doing nothing, you want to come hang out at your local boat launch above Bonneville, come join us. We'll be at one of them.
Yeah.
And we'll be hanging out, just waiting to go get our lines wet and hopefully land on a pile of sturgeon. And hopefully the wait is worth it. Hopefully we're not.
If you see us out there, say hi. Wave.
Yeah, especially to this dude.
So, no, I think it's going to be a great time. I think I really do. I think it's going to be fun. I look forward to it every year. Even though it's a fun fishery. There's usually, people get a hook into fish.
And anymore, to me, it's kind of a great way to wrap up the holidays.
It is.
It's kind of like that last little okay, this is the holiday season, but like with fishing, and it's your last way to kind of wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay, this is cool. We'll get a couple fun days up here, and maybe sometimes you have people from out of town coming in, and it's a great way to do it, and it's a lot of fun, and we can get a few. I mean, I'm shooting that, I land on them, and I get to take one home myself.
Right.
That's right. Hey, we're always finger crossing that.
That's
gotta eat too.
Oh yeah, I'm like, man, I hope I land on them good enough that I'm taking one home too that day. So, but with that, dude, Steelhead. It has been awesome.
Let's talk about it.
After everything settles down, after this giant rain, we get back probably around the first of the year here. There's going to be a lot of fish around, and I think from what we've seen early on, doesn't matter if it's a coastal river, kind of one of our Columbia tributaries, or a Portland, Vancouver Metro River. Chances are good. I mean, heck, you can go right out your backyard and catch one, and it's only going to get better. I mean, that's what I'm seeing.
I think we're seeing the same thing. It kind of happened early, and then no one really wanted to talk about it, which was kind of, that's how it always is.
This is
every
small
year.
river fishing. It's small river fishing.
Everyone doesn't want to be, it was crazy.
Exactly.
But then now that the word's out, I mean, see it on social media, people are having fun.
Yeah, and the coolest thing that I'm seeing, like I said before, I mean, you're seeing it from a coastal thing all the way up the Columbia.
All the way up.
So it's really, really exciting, and that's what we need. But one thing, too, that I learned, and I heard this from, it was either Tony or Frank. I think it might have been you, Tony, last year. But if the mountain's having a good season for snow, we're going to have a kick-ass
we are going to have
steelhead season.
Yes.
Probably snowing.
So, I mean...
It is, Sean.
Yeah, but I mean, that... follow that. Really follow that. That's going to be a true thing. And we have so many things going for us. Like the last couple of years, we've had a lot of lowland snow. That's awesome for these rain-fed rivers. We're seeing bigger returns. We're seeing stronger returns, and a lot more fish early on. Which means when these fish really do start coming in here, like after the first of the year, middle of January, there's going to be a lot of fish around.
Yeah,
and
I'm excited.
Don't want to miss it because it's going to be great. But with that, when you're going out right now, James, what are you fishing?
Well, I did my first thing ever. I haven't done it in probably a long time. I went out plunking and got successful. I thought that was kind of crazy, and it was
fairly early still.
It was early.
Yeah.
It was super early. Yeah. I didn't want to. I mean, I knew for the local river I was at, it's kind of a toss up. I could take the big boat out and go, where they start stacking up in a big river. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not doing anything. No one wants to go. It's raining outside. I'm going to go plunking.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I sat in my car for 3 hours, and I landed on a Grandpa thinks. I showed Grandpa Frank the picture, and he says it was at least 20. I think it was like 16, but it was a decent fish.
Good fish.
It was actually it was a decent
super nice fish. Yeah,
it was awesome to see that early something that size.
Oh yeah,
and not just a cooker cutter fish. Yeah. And then I started, now that the local river's really in shape, and I'm just in the drift boat.
In
and-
shape, dude. It's blown out right now.
Well,
I don't know where you're fishing.
Well, when it was in shape. When it was in shape.
Oh, you mean?
But when it was when it was in shape, I switched to, and grind, and we've been actually
Yeah, well, I see this setup right here.
Yeah.
I mean, come on now.
Tier, you pull. Are you showing it?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Look at how shocked I am, dude.
We're looking off camera right now because we're looking at James' big fish.
Yeah, they can see you right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was the craziest thing was it was probably like people will say, I don't know. To me, it's old school. The plunking style way I was using a foam pill
Mm-hmm.
and a thin twin. Wasn't even like a spinning glow. A thin twin's been around for gee how long?
So out forever.
Forever. Yeah, just a big wing, and then a foam pill that I think I might have stole from Grandpa, to be honest. But no, I mean that was
and that dude, that was a beautiful fish, and for plunking, that's as easy as
it gets.
You get to hang out in your car, kind of on a day where it's raining.
When it's raining,
you can have some
dry,
music playing.
warm with a heater.
Yeah.
Put some It was raining. I mean, yeah, Tony actually came down.
Like 10 minutes.
Oh, geez.
Tony came down.
Yeah. Right.
Throw up. You sent me a picture.
That's how it works, though.
But now we have some different setups that, like, for my local river.
And this is when conditions are good.
This is
So
when
you're doing
conditions
it,
are, even high, like, they're a little high, but still green. Like, maybe you won't, if you want to go to the top cam.
Yeah, this is something.
Oh, we got a question.
Ooh.
Buddy. Here.
I like how he's your buddy.
Yeah, it's your buddy.
He's all our buddy.
Mike says, how deep of holes are you guys looking for to fish in? That's
Go back to the sturgeon.
Oh, we're going to the sturgeon.
All right, perfect.
This was the older one.
So, I mean, it all just depends. I've caught sturgeon above Bonneville in like 30, 40 feet.
Yeah.
All the way to like 120 feet.
Yeah.
And with that, though, there's some really popular areas that a lot of people are going to be fishing. There's trenches up there. There's deep holes. There's spots where it's going to be like 2-3 boats that'll fit in the spot. And then there's spots where 30 boats can fit, and with that, there's going to be so many people out there. You're going to see probably groups of people, you'll see some strays, but you're going to see a lot of groups of people. And if you're going into this kind of blind, there probably are maybe videos in the past couple of years that have been put out about fishing up there. I would watch some of those. I'm sure there's landmarks that you can key in on.
Yep.
And then just kind of see what's going on. But look for groups of people. I mean, it's going to be no secret. There's going to be a million.
There's going to be a million. There's going to be. It's like a pot of whales.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like this might be a good area. Are you going to be in the X? Well, you don't know until you try.
And with that though, I mean, I'm gonna be fishing a spot that's pretty popular and it can hold a lot of boats, and I'll be anchored probably at about 90, 110 feet of water, somewhere right in there.
There's a few spots that I like that are like 50 to 60, 70, and then there's like a couple holes that I really like that are those deep.
Yep.
That,
Yeah, and you don't got to fish 100 feet of water. Like I said, we were talking about, you can go fish that 40, 50 feet if you're in the right spots.
If they're there, they're there.
Get them. But going with it, I mean, find some deep water, give people some space. It goes back to being courteous. There's going to be a lot of people, a lot of stuff going on. There's going to be probably barges, I'm sure.
There's barges.
It's going to be wild.
It's going to be wild.
And just take your time.
Be safe out there.
Yeah, take your time. Be courteous. This is
wear your life jackets.
It's the start of winter. It's the way the forecast is looking. It's going to be cold that day. People are going to be going out super early in the dark trying to anchor up. I'm sure a lot of us will be heading out a little bit before dark, but I'm not going out too crazy early. I'm going to wait a little bit.
Yeah, at least daylight.
I'm going to head out probably a little bit right as the daylight's going, and try to go get in a good spot and hang out with everybody else. And the way the pool is temperature wise, it should be good, and we should have some good results. And with that, if you are seeing some boats in the general vicinity of you catching some keepers, well, maybe after they leave, if you can squeeze in,
do
that.
Pay attention.
Yeah, pay attention, and don't crowd people. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of us, and we're all going to be right next to each other.
I got a question.
So,
how often do you guys like to sit in a spot to make the move
for sturgeon fishing?
For sturgeon, are you the guys that just throw it out and you're like,
if I don't get,
because that's a thing. Like people will, they will sit on a spot.
I don't get bit within 15, 20.
I was going to say, I kind of have like a half an hour rule. You don't sit smart for half an hour, but with that, I don't like it. Next Wednesday, I don't think you're gonna have room to move somewhere.
But
You're gonna get what you get.
right, change your baits up. Use your
Oh yes, yes. That's the best thing you can do. I
If you shoot
mean,
those 30 minutes, you're not getting bit. You can throw something new on.
yes, especially if there's boats around you
Yeah.
getting bit. That's the greatest tip you can give. If there's boats around you getting bit in like say a 5 boat proximity,
Yep.
you're gonna get bit too. It's just finding out what they want, and that's why we said that keys into having. I mean, literally a buffet. We're all
Right, so bring a variety and try.
You know,
Don't be shy of baits.
Yeah, and then
That's
go get those Procure bait scents, like Sturgeon Frenzy, Sturgeon Cocktail, stuff like that. And there's some really good scents out there that'll help make your baits hotter and
Yeah.
better, and you can
Use
inject
that
them.
Procure oil too. Inject.
Yeah, exactly. Inject them.
Get a lot of central.
Yeah, and try to find some fresh sand shrimp. Try to find some good fresh sand shrimp. That'll help.
That really helps.
The smell is combos, man.
Yes.
You're in that smell.
Yes.
So this where this fish come from. This looks like a
That was on the Wilson River.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're dropping a river name?
I dropped a river in. That was Wilson. All good. It's got a really good
Yeah.
broodstock program now and eating some good quality fish out there. So
That broodstock
a
program.
lot of times, I go in there and, I do a lot of South Beach fishing, bobber dogging, but sometimes it's so fished out and so full of people, army fishing, kind of like the sturgeon season's going to come up on that river also for steelhead. But I just come through and pull some plugs through those holes after everybody's fished the heck out of it. Not that you're going to get bit, and the plugs will just snap and just pop. So don't frown upon plugs.
Do
Once you've been
something
fished already.
different. Something different. That's a huge thing. Even on my rivers, it's like,
Yeah.
man, like we're all fishing so much of the same with the soft beads
Yep.
and stuff
The
like that.
fish are
It's
so
like-
much in their face and messed with, they don't want to bite no more. So all of a sudden, I'll just scoop over right in the hole, pull some plugs, and boom, boom, boom.
Yep. No, it's all about being different, especially you're on a really popular river where
Right.
on any given day on a weekend there could be 60 boats easy.
Easy.
But
And how many bait guys?
but with that, I mean, out of the 60 boats, a lot of people can have success,
Right.
and that's the cool thing. That's where up here on the Columbia River tributaries we really struggle, where it's like, man, if you showed up and there's sometimes 6 boats
Yeah.
on the stretch
Yeah.
you're doing, you're kind of just SOL.
I think Tony and I, last year we were fishing one hole and there was 10 sleds in this run, and that hole cannot hold 10 sleds.
Yeah, that river too is so popular now and so known.
So changing it
I'll
up.
throw that
and
river
making it-
name out because it's not no secret. Every hole there, everybody knows about. So,
Oh yeah, no, but it's cool that there's those rivers. It's just like going to the
Yeah.
outlets, up here in Washington. It's there's cool that there's big enough river systems where it can hold a lot of boats, a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
Right.
and on any given day, like say 80% of those people can have success.
Yeah.
I know not everybody's gonna have success, but mostly if you're doing it right and the fish are there, out of a lot of those people, 80% of them are gonna have success.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
agree.
really cool. Like we need more river systems like that. Not saying all the people, but just more fish. I mean,
Right.
you get more fish. Like those guys up in Grace Harbor right now, they're so fortunate that those rivers are open this year for steelhead because that spreads people out. I know they're going to be busy rivers up there because who doesn't want to go fish those? Come on now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, are those the rivers that haven't, they've been,
They've
I'm,
been
not, I'm
closed.
super new to
no,
the
they've
Washington
been
side.
closed
for a while?
since 2020. So I mean,
Okay.
I am from Washington, but I don't partake in that. I'm from Southwest Washington, right across the
Right.
river here. So, but they've been closed. I think 2020 it might have been the last. If I have it right, 2020 might have been the last winter that they were able to fish on. It's been 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, it was either 19 or 20.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what I was
So-
reading.
But it's a huge opportunity, and to have that opportunity back,
It's nice to get spread out so we're not
Yeah.
funneled into
Right.
here's
No.
you guys get to fish this river and this is your guys' river.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
being a
it's cool,
Washington
it's cool
guy,
to
you
have
get
the opportunity. Cool to have the opportunity to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
usually you get taken away opportunity, you don't have it back. Where they have it, but that just comes with us having a good steelhead return from the coast up the Columbia to all the
Everywhere.
coastal rivers. It's going to be a lot of fish to be caught, and that's why we're here to talk about it and get the hype going because it's fun. They're already in the river, and we're going to talk about all the right things to do to catch them.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Yeah. So with that, all right.
With that, do you want to start? I'll start with the easy setup.
Yeah. Go. Yeah. Perfect.
I'll start with the easy setup.
All right.
So all this is a fixed float, bobber and jig. I mean, you can't get much simpler than this. I usually I'll just tie this, my leader line straight to my braid. I forget, like a double uni or something,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
whatever. And then try to match. I've noticed you try to match the bobber to the jig, because sometimes what happens is if you get a too overweighted jig, that, and you don't have a like big enough bobber, this thing will just roll right at the tip. You know, it's like barely any indication.
Like one size under.
But I usually try to like, I run a little heavier bobber. I mean, it just, to me, it's personal. It's personal preference, realistically. But then on water clarity, then you can just change with jigs. You can do this with worms. I mean, I've seen guys do it with beads, but I don't know. I've never done it. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I mean, so I've used like the thill floats back in the day.
The wooden thills,
Yeah,
man.
done this type of
Bring them
deal.
back.
Yeah. I mean, they still sell them. You go to Bimart, dude. You can get those right at Bimart. But I used to do that low clear water.
Yeah.
I would tie it straight to my braid, doing like the double uni, and I'd run, say, about 6 to 8 feet of like 12-pound fluorocarbon right to a jig, or doing a jig head with a worm. And then if I was fishing a bead, what I would do, just because you have so much leader and I'm trying to cut down on it, I do like, say, I don't know, 3 feet, 4 feet of the 12-pound. Then I do like a little
maybe
barrel swivel.
a barrel swivel.
Yeah, little barrel swivel. Then I do like 2 feet to like your bead, maybe 2.5.
Yeah.
And then put a little just BB shot on it underneath the thill float.
Yeah.
But I don't fish that way too much anymore.
Yeah.
Anymore I'm doing like slip floats.
Slip floats.
Yeah, kind of like this deal right here. I'll slide this in here.
One thing on this is you could put a little too, if you want to go back, just take back to, you could just put a little coon shrimp tail or some kind of shrimp, just, to make that presentation that much better.
Go to the store and buy raw prawns.
Raw prawns.
Salt them down a little bit. Add a little
bit quarter-inch by quarter-inch pieces and just put it on the hook.
Yeah. Simple. I mean, this is the only downside is what I would say with the setup is casting. Especially if you're going to cast into deeper holes, like 8 to 9 feet, doing a fixed float gets very tough.
That's when the slip float's better.
So now we're going to move to this. This is where
when you're fishing the smaller rivers and you're going to fish this like that, 3 feet to 6 feet
to 6
is
is perfect.
Yeah, that's how I fish it. It's like the small rivers where you're fishing like 3 to 6 foot holes. You know, that's where that really shines.
Yep.
And it's just very small profile, non-intrusive, not a loud splash when you cast it out there.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And when the rivers get
Randy here's got a question.
It's a
Breathe out loud.
Yeah, you're the coastal guy, kind of.
Yeah, you're the coastal guy. Let's hear your input.
There's a lean tidal water and I'll see, does anyone catch steelheads in tidal water, only in freshwater? I fish a lot more freshwater than I do salt for steelhead, but
I mean, I would think you just have to find. I've never fished LC, but I would imagine I fish some rivers that are set up where literally they just run right into the ocean, and it always seems like you get up a little ways into the first good stretch of it. Hole.
It's almost like in that transition period.
And typically it's probably maybe it's mixing a little bit on the tide, but typically it's not really a salt water. Maybe brackish a little bit, but typically
the change,
fresh water end of it.
The change.
Yeah.
When it's low and clear, you can go to those last couple of holes.
Last of the holes.
Yeah. But typically you're not going to find him like, I don't know, if he's fishing right around the surf, right at the mouth of it, something like that. That's not, upriver a little ways. But yeah.
I mean, you could be throwing spinners out there, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're gonna people catch them. People catch them trolling down a buoy tendon out in the ocean.
Yeah.
You can totally get them. It's just it seems like steelhead are sneaky, and you go up the river just a ways, probably get right out of where the mixing point is or that brackish water, and you're gonna have probably a little bit better success. I think, especially finding like that.
I'd agree to that. Yeah.
Water
Totally.
where it's actually have some flow from the river, whether it's on the outgoing tide or not.
Yep.
But, that's where I would have some success. I mean, we are lucky enough here on the Columbia River tributaries, like some of them very down low, they are tidal affected, where on the incoming tide, you get really nothing, but then on the outgoing tide, it's flowing.
It's flowing.
And you can go down there, and obviously we're up so high, it's not salt water at all. But with that, on the outgoing tides in the right spot, you can get them down low. So it's just checking in and knowing your local stream. And
going out and putting some time in.
Right. Exactly.
That's how you know.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to. But
so like we were moving on. Here, I'll let you talk about this one.
Oh, that's fine. So
this is a cool setup here. So we were going from the fixed float. So now if we get into this is why I think the slip bobber works.
Yeah.
Really
so I
good
mean,
a little bit
depending
deeper.
what you're doing, and the slip float, James fishes a lot more jigs than I do. I do fish some jigs, and I like to fish an inline weight on a slip float versus how I have this kind of setup right here. I don't know if we can kind of see it, but if we can you zoom in a little more, Tony? Yeah, zoom on in a little more.
Get personal.
Yeah, kind of spread it
I
out.
like that. Oh yeah, you can get the ring and everything.
Yeah, try to spread it out a little bit there. So with that though, I'm using just like a Dave's Tangle Free Lead, a really quality split ring, and then those are probably like 6 to 7 size swivel, somewhere in there. I know they're a little big. I don't know, probably like 6 or 7, somewhere right in there. But that's what I like to do, and this is what I'm doing with the slip float. I'm using a 1/2 ounce slip float, split ring, 2 swivels, so you have the mobility, so stuff can move around a little bit, and then I can play with my lead. So that's a 1/2 ounce float. It's a 1/2 ounce lead right now, because when I just got done fishing the other day, the river I was fishing was still kind of on the high end.
Yep.
But the cool thing is, once it starts getting smaller water or lower and clear, instead of running the 1/2 ounce lead, I can go down to like a 1/3 of an ounce or a quarter ounce.
Yeah.
You can kind of drop down your profile, and then behind this, what I like to do is I like to run a long leader bead, which I'll kind of see if I can sneak some in here.
Snake it in.
Yeah. So I have those tied up right there. I like just really nice kind of soft pinks, oranges, some translucents. I don't stray too crazy or too far. Sometimes I'll use some hotter colors, but just kind of
The staple colors.
Yeah.
Like can't go wrong with cerise.
Yeah, and your soft colors, nothing too bright.
Are you doing the 20 millimeters now? Seems like everybody.
Some places it really just depends. So usually I'll fish like 16s are pretty standard in my game.
Yeah.
16s, 14s. If I'm running double beads, I'll fish down to 12, stuff like that.
With on water.
Exactly. It depends on water.
If it's low clear water and long leaders, and then I'll run small presentation.
Yeah.
The darker the water gets and the higher the water level gets,
Then you can run those
bigger the
brighter,
presentation.
bigger. Yeah, exactly. And with that, like, you guys are lucky enough, a lot of your rivers that you're fishing are like glacier-fed rivers where they have that really good green.
Green, yeah.
We're up here, we're fishing a lot of rivers in my neck of the woods that are a rain-fed river, and they clear up really quick. Like, literally today, the river just kind of dropped and crested overnight and this morning, and had that nice deep green. And it'll be like that today when it's pretty much unfishable unless you're plunking.
Right.
But then when it starts to get fishable, it's crystal clear.
Crystal clear,
I mean,
yeah.
you can see. So that's why in my neck of the woods, the very soft, not overpowering cerises and oranges, that's what works best for me. And then with the long leader deal, why it works so good is because the water is so clear in my neck of the woods, and I'm running about a 4 to 5 foot leader, a little BB shot. And that's why I like having it set up on the split ring like that, because then you have that like kind of pendulum where it can move.
Yeah.
And also then when you're hooking fish with the swivel, you're kind of in control, I feel like.
Don't give a buying point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're fishing a bead. You're going to lose a lot of fish. You're going to get a lot of bites. You're going to lose a lot.
And you're going to lose a lot.
That's bead fishing. But man, you get a lot of bites.
You get a lot of bites.
It's like, that's what makes it so worth it. It's like, and you land more than you lose. It just, you have days though where you really question
That's
it.
what I love a jig.
So-
Like when I
Yeah, you
Land
get the
to a
bobber
jig.
down on a jig, you got it.
It's got it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The bead, I've noticed even this year, like I've fished it like 5-6 days in a row now that we're on, I'm
Yeah.
like a little vacation right now. So it's kind of like I'm just fishing with all the buddies and stuff, and it's like crazy how many fish we've lost just on the beads. But it's big fishing. You can't. What I've noticed with beads is it's a kind of a crazy game because you want that one fish of 1,000 casts, and you might lose it. But to me, it's fun.
Yeah.
I love the changeability, everything.
I love, and you get so many bites. Whether you're just targeting steelhead, you're literally going to catch everything in the river with beads. That's what's so
Trout.
We
caught this crazy.
I bought a fish with you last week.
Yeah, we caught that freaking.
So you'll catch them on worms and stuff like that, but beads are just they're just so easy anymore. I mean, bobber and jig or bobber and worm, like here a few years ago, probably 5-10 years ago, like, man, that's probably your easiest way to set up and just go down to the local river and catch a steelhead.
Yeah.
And anymore, I'm like, man, if somebody can take 5 minutes and learn how to cast a little bit longer of a leader with this bobber and long leader worms, it might be the most effective way to just go down there and catch one. You know what I mean? It's like
It's a game changer.
And setting it up like how I'm kind of describing it with changing out your leads on this. It's like cool, in higher water flows, then you can really control your bobber and really run it good. And as the water drops down and gets lower and clearer, you can just keep sizing down your leads, so that way your presentation when you're casting out, it's a little bit less, a little bit less.
What I think, because I used to side drift a lot out of a boat, right? Like the old school side drifting, pencil lead. And this, I think, is now the ticket. I mean, maybe more of the bobber dogging, maybe not.
It's just more casting the water. I still fish a lot of bait. Like my program, like I was saying to you guys earlier, like I fish one rod with bait, one rod with a bead. But with that, it's like with the beads, you're just getting so many more casts in the water.
Yeah.
You really are. Like that's then so many more casts. When you just talked about a fish of 1,000 casts, when I get 10 extra casts, that's 10 more towards catching a fish. You know, and that's what it's about. It's about time spent on the water. Because for a lot of people, they don't have every day to go fish. You know, when the river's right, they get say maybe one weekend day or maybe a couple days throughout a month. So they need to be able to fish effectively. And what I tell my guys every day when we go, it's like, man, after the first couple holes, how we're fishing, you guys are now the most effective fishermen on the river. Out we're bobber dogging our bait or our baits or the worms. It's like, man, like you can take people with these methods, and within our first couple holes,
it doesn't. It doesn't.
They
take
are
much.
fishing effectively.
Oh yeah.
And that's
what was I telling you when we were bobbers in the water, man? Bobbers in the water.
Yeah, and then you can see how spread out you are, and it's not like the days of just side drifting anymore where you tell people to cast and be spread out, but I mean, at the end of it, everybody's kind of
it seems like it's a ball,
exactly.
like just one big ball of
Where
it.
with this, you know, you visually, whether you're doing the slip float or you're doing the bobber dogging, now we can visually see where we're at, and you can just create such a nice spread. Whether you're trying to do a wall or just spread people out a little bit, you can just work it so much better. There's so many advantages to this. Like I know there's so many people that are like, oh man, pencil lead eggs drifted on the bottom. That's awesome. Like if you just want to feel the bite, cool.
Yeah.
Like this, you want to take people and take people that maybe have no idea what's going on and give them a chance. That's why we fish these.
Yep.
You know, it's effective. It is fairly easy to get a grasp on. And then the first couple holes of the day, we have people casting that maybe have never picked up a salmon or steelhead rod in their life and are now fishing just like somebody that's been doing this for 30, 40 years, you know, and that's the beauty of these methods, I think.
How often, like for you guys, for bead size to hook size, that's always a huge topic.
Yeah.
For people when they're,
man, I think it just depends. So like
we'll go with 16 mil.
Yeah, so these are 16s right here. I know 16. This is a 15, but like these are 16s. I run number ones.
A number one.
I'll run on everything.
Yeah, I'll run 20.
You'll run all ones on everything, even like 20 mil.
I run longer shank and short shank sometimes. It just depends.
You want to show your little?
Yeah, get them out there.
Get them out there.
Here, get them in the centerpiece.
Get them in there, Kev.
I just run one hook, size one hook, and saw bead. But I end up tying a glass bead in.
Yeah,
I feed my line through it like 3 times. Right, and it does slip down sometimes when you hook a fish, whatever. But the reason why I like doing it is because it's easy to change a bead out. Slide it down, slide it over your hook, and then you
Quick change.
You're done. Grab another colored bead, put it right back on. And a lot of time when the hole is out and the factory hole is 10, you can always just make a new hole with your soft bead.
Yeah.
Put it right back up on the glass bead, and then you're fishing.
There's a lot of companies that don't even do pre-holes.
Yeah.
There's a. I mean,
yeah, we do like WFO. Like these ones are WFO. You got to thread them. The B&R is cool because they make the holes, but then like you guys saw, like I like to do the sequin. Like I'm pretty set in stone. Like the colors. So I have tons of leaderboards just with hooks and like ready to put beads on.
Yeah.
And this is one that I had in my boat that I pulled out. Like
no, I like it.
And like when I'm ready to go fishing, just because I feel like my river, I know the colors that I like so much. Right. And I should expand my game. And like I love those colors, but I just never do it good on my river with that. So these are what I fish. But the idea,
I just like the color. That's
certain
colors.
The idea of getting to switch them out, like what you're doing, I've seen that. It's really nice. You know, if you want to go and like, once again, it comes to a lot of people that don't have a lot of time, so maybe they're not dialed.
It's just saving time is the main.
Saving time.
So you get to go and the cool thing is, like, if they don't like one of these colors I have, you can take it off and make a couple more casts with a different color.
Yeah.
And that could have been the ticket, you know? Like, where I'm just set in stone on my stuff. I'm like, you're getting it on that color.
Cerise, you're going down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, where, I mean, but luckily enough, I get to fish enough rods. It's all good. But with how you have yours set up,
and
it's so
again,
nice.
You know, it's
like, what is that? A little 6 mil?
Yeah. It's just, you know, clarity of water, depth of water. You know, deeper water as it gets, darker it gets, you go bigger presentation.
So I will say though, if you talk to I can't think of his name. I'm having a moment here. Roger Hincliffe, he will tell you, low, clear, bright, sunny days, use something very big profile.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
There's some truth to it, dude. Low, clear water, I'll fish 16 still.
Yeah.
I'll fish something big. Yeah. I feel like it's almost like a flasher,
right?
In a way, and it's like, man,
I think it just sometimes
it might be over in another riff hole and it sees that. Right. I'm gotta go over there.
But there is some truth to it. But with that, on very pressured systems.
Yep.
Your
that's
smallest
smallest profile.
That's usually what's going to win.
People throwing big stuff at them all the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Change.
So,
Seems like you just have more success at doing it.
I do a lot of the times too. Instead of a small bead, I'll just pick a corky.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of corky.
I'll tell you what, I do a lot of corky and yarn myself.
Yeah.
That color corky in there right there.
Yeah.
And look just like a sand shrimp color.
Yeah.
I caught more still
It's
in
perfect.
that right there.
Perfect.
It's cool.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll take that, and I'll just like how we peg our beads. I'll usually just take corky and peg it up both ways.
Yeah.
But it's all about that small
It is.
profile. I mean, there's days where that's key, and there's days where it doesn't matter, and it's just being ready and having it all. You know,
Right.
especially on rivers like that have a lot of pressure. Having that small profile, usually that's what wins. It's like
It is.
It's crazy.
It depends on pressure too, like I was saying. This big thing is pressure.
Yeah, and water clarity. I mean, if you have a day where the water's up high, yeah, you can fish better
Yeah.
stuff. But when you have a day where, say, it's just like that perfect, probably like 5-5 flow on the Wilson or something, and there's 70 boats there, that's why you're fishing the gear that you're fishing, because you're going to get a bite.
You
know.
that don't work. Just go plug on. It's yours.
Yeah, but it's something different. You know,
Right.
And
Something
that's the beauty of it too. It's just trying to be different than your neighbor. You know.
Do you want to explain how you set up?
Yeah, I mean, we can go over it. It's
Your
the same thing. You got to go back to the
Sorry, T. We're making you work today, man. We're making you work.
You're good. So we're doing exactly the same thing. Like I said before, all of us are like 90% the same, and this is where we're a little different. So I tie these up beforehand, but I have them just ready with the little glass or plastic bead and then a sequin because I don't want my beads to pull over at all.
I love
Set in
that.
stone. But with that, then I know when I cast out there, anything can happen, but your bead's never going to slide down to your hook.
I passed it in.
And but with that, I can't change out as easily as you can, you know. And like I said, I'm set in stone. Like when I put that on your
you're
rod,
either tying
you're
it
get
in,
changing.
yeah, you're retying
Yeah.
or pulling that bead off the switch.
But luckily, the rivers that I fished, I mean, I like to fish new colors, don't get me wrong, but I don't stray too far away from what I know works. And like the cerises, the soft oranges, kind of like that. This is like a blue goon color. It's a cerise with like that kind of transparent, or the nuclear pink, which is a WFO. And WFO, if you're out there, that's probably my favorite color that you make. Hands down, has caught more steelhead for me on any river. It doesn't matter if it's a
This guy right
or
here.
anything else. That one is killer. And BNR, your cerise is like my secondary.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily for us, I'm a consumer.
This is the WFO. What is it? What do they call it?
So it's nuclear pink.
Nuclear
it's just
pink.
their original 16 millimeter. I run that low water, high water.
Yeah.
And that color has caught more fish for me than probably almost anything else. The next one running up, and it's probably neck and neck. And this one is the spiky bead version, but it's a BNR cerise. It's from their original
lineup. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you fish it in the round or in the spiky bead. That cerise color on any of our rivers it's just hands down. So
Both of us this year noticed too the cerise has been coming.
It's been you know what's funny is I was like, wasn't a firm believer, but like with cerise, I was like, it's got to be that perfect color. It's got to be that perfect color.
But it's how it flows in the water.
I was like, exactly. It was like how it flows in the water.
But that
and there was
flows,
dirty
how it
water,
flows,
and I
it's
was
like-
catching fish.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's the color, man, and
Yeah.
But with that too, like, luckily for me, I'm not like I have to fish one brand. I'm a consumer like everybody else. So, I mean, like Elevated Tackle, they make some good
stuff.
You know, like one of their favorite ones, it's like a pink pearl swirl, and I have tons of those, and that is probably like right here with the top of my favorite beads. You know, it's so cool to just be a consumer and get to fish all these all the time. And
like Never Quit with Todd would Never Quit. He does some awesome beads.
I feel like every company has a
Drill, Don't Rush Outdoors.
Awesome.
I mean, everyone has their.
Dude, those are top of the line, and it's so cool that every company has like their handful of like these are the most epic color beads, and it's cool that we can buy like exactly. So then you get this stash of just amazing colors and all the stuff, and it's cool that we can fish all these different companies, and that's why they're out there. You know, it's like I know there's so many people like I'm only going to fish say DRO or like I'm only going to fish BNR, and it's like, man, you're missing on so many cool things
too.
You're sleeping on so much cool stuff that's out there where it's like it takes a little bit of everybody's gear to kind of get through the season. At least for me, I mean, that's what
I'm a firm believer in it, dude.
And it takes a little bit of everybody's stuff to get us through, because like you could fish the BNR cerise and that's going to catch a lot of fish, but it's like those days where you have like my pink pearl swirl from Elevated or the WFO, or you have some of the DRO stuff. That's like, dude, like that's what makes a difference sometimes. And we're so lucky.
If it's Tony Amano, dude, it's a 6-inch Berkeley pink worm.
Yeah, the pink
I don't know, it's probably 25 years ago. I would go to the same ad, and I wasn't pegging the beach. I was just putting a little orange bead on and a little bit of white yarn.
Yeah.
It's like an egg wreck with eggs at a tiny weight and just drip fishing.
Then they came up and slammed it.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. You don't, we like, that's just it. How people used to fish Okies and still fish Okies, you know, like.
It looks like an egg.
Thanks.
Yeah. We could fish these beads on the shank, like right up on the shank of the hook, you know, but that's how everybody fished
It's
the.
safe now.
It's safe.
You're not going to swallow it.
Yeah. But I mean, just how everybody's fishing the Okies forever, that's a bead. That's what it was.
It is.
You know, and they were fishing it just
Still
stacked on their hook, and we could do the same thing with these. You know, like all that we found out is, man, you create that little bit of gap, and then you're going to get them a little bit better.
A little bit better.
So that's.
And with that said, how much do you guys prefer separation from hook to bead?
2-3 fingers.
Yeah, that's what I do about 2.
I mean, that's like perfect. I mean, especially like when you're tying them in line like this, like. If you're new to tying in like your own little glass or plastic big, it's going to take you a couple years to like figure out where you want it.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2-3 fingers is perfect. You know, that's what I think is ideal. Your hook has a little bit of movement because like sometimes if it's too close, you know, it'll be real stiff.
Yeah.
Or if you have a couple finger width, it has a little bit of play, a little bit of movement. So that way when the fish grabs it, you know, hopefully it'll stay in their mouth a little bit better. Because I don't know how many times you hook one on a bead and it'll make like that initial run and flip and then fish off.
Yeah.
That's just I do it.
Yeah, and it's just how we have them hooked, and they just come undone.
I'm going to plug Randy in, Randy Bonner, making the Bead Bible. If you really want to get in-depth reading, check out Randy's book, The Bead Bible. He breaks down from like even the weight size of the hook.
Right.
Oh yeah,
That's how
so
you know,
that's
things.
what I noticed, especially in once again I should read this book. I've never read it, but what I noticed right out the gate speed fishing, the lighter the hook, the better it was. And like before, and so now these are like the new Gamakatsu bead hooks. But, but like I used to fish the Gamakatsu light wire. And it was like mosquito hooks before that. Like whatever was lightest worked the best.
It does because now people are creating, you know, you can get a bead in if it's neutral, buoyant, over.
Oh yeah,
it's getting crazy now. Like it's kind of
too much.
It's like
too much.
Holy cow! You know what I mean? It's like something new comes out. It's like, man, oh jeez.
Yeah.
But it all plays into.
I got that.
There you go. We need to get you one too.
I do have that.
Perfect.
Here, let me show it on camera. If you guys don't have this book, go to the STS website, pick one up. Randy does a great job. I mean, he goes through literally everything. I mean, it's hook sizes to bead sizes, how to say that if you don't have a peg, you know, how to peg your bead.
Just your
leader line. He literally goes through.
I can see that. Yeah.
He goes through everything with it, and I mean, I've read it. I mean, I'm kind of biased. I read a lot of everything that's in this warehouse, but
well, yeah,
kind of have to. But no, but this book it's super knowledgeable. I mean, there's a lot of information out on the web. I mean, you can watch a YouTube video on everything. It's nice. I like hand feel, but yeah. Plugging you in, Randy.
No, that's perfect.
Now you get to read it.
Yeah. No, I'll take it.
But no.
Yeah. You get to learn more and more. And with that, we were talking about the slip float stuff. So
from slip floats to bobber dogging.
Yeah. So, I mean.
Sorry, T. We're rolling right now.
Yeah.
We want this interactive.
This is great.
But then we can talk about what we're going to put behind it.
Yeah.
And the cool thing with bobber dogging is just like drift fishing. You can put anything behind it.
Literally.
You can put multiple things behind it. You know?
Yeah.
I kind of have a rule when people go with me. I start out with 1 liter and we kind of test the waters. And
then you'll add another.
Yeah, as
I run dual trailers.
Dual trailer.
Oh, yeah. As the day goes
Throw a
on.
yarny up top, throw some scent on it, and leave some presentation.
So mine and I have trust issues. I take people and I'm like, man, I'm not giving you 2 liters right out the gates.
These guys got the cast first.
There's those big overhanging trees on us, and there's a lot of bad news that's going on, especially at like 7:50 in the morning when it's first breaking daylight.
Yeah, you're sticking to 1 liter.
Yes.
100%.
100%.
What makes you throw this? This is
so okay. I'll kind of walk through like my game plan.
Kevin, you can add to.
Yeah, I'll mine and then walk through yours.
Same thing he does.
Yeah, but I'll walk through kind of like what I'm doing. It's like this slip float, whether it's with a jig or a bead underneath it. So when I'm coming into the holes, usually I have people fishing right off the bow of my drift boat. And this is in small rivers where I'm fishing in a drift boat. we'll be coming into holes and like, man, with these long leader beads or
You can kind of
well, yeah,
chase them
we're
down.
fishing the edges.
You're fishing water that your boat ain't been over.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm trying to fish the edges when we come into these holes before the boat's going to disturb anything. So that's when having something that's just going to freely float through the water and not get snagged up is ideal. Well, okay, perfect. So we do that a couple times as we come down into the hole where I'm either going to anchor or we're going to start making passes. And once we get into the gut of the hole where I know it's a pretty clean drift, it's anywhere from 2 to 6, 8 feet deep, and there's nothing that's going to be too snaggy. I mean, you are going to get snagged because you're drift fishing, but nothing too snaggy. That's when I grab these rods and I start making passes. And with that, it's the greatest thing in the world. The same leader that we had on for our long leader bead, oh shoot, you can put the same thing under that.
Trailing on that.
And drag it on there. Or what I really like to do is and Tony experienced this last year with me, I like to run eggs. So I do a double leader with number ones and then a Yakima bait Corky. And I run a lot of eggs. And I do the same thing. It's just drift fishing, but
I'm going to take one out.
Off, man.
We'll just kind of do it like that.
Yeah. And with that, when I'm fishing these under the bobber dogger, I'm usually running on most rivers about a 3-foot leader.
Can you see that good too?
Some rivers will run a lot longer. And during the conditions too, if it's say like perfect conditions, I'd say about a 3-4 foot leader is like perfect.
Yep.
If it's really, really super low and clear, man, obviously run a longer leader. Or if it's a river with a lot of pressure, a lot of other people, sometimes longer leaders can pay off. But typically about 3 feet, man, that's perfect.
Yarny and a cork.
Yeah, and the yarn is just
double hooks,
and it's just right on the egg loop. The yarn, besides getting in a steelhead's mouth, when they come up to eat on it, the yarn's going to stay in their teeth. But it also adds, you can grab it. You can grab it and put eggs on. I can show you in the front of my boat real quick. Like, okay, I have all these little baits cut up. I just occasionally want you to slide them on like this.
Yeah.
You can just pull right on. And then too with that double hook setup, it's like, man, you got 2 more chances versus 1.
Oh yeah.
So it gets a lot of fish that way. And I'm not hooking them too deep. I mean, that day that Tony was with me, like he saw this firsthand. We didn't hook nothing very deep. A lot of them just get lip hooked. They'll come up and just kind of munch. And then with the bobber,
do you break it down in that video? I can't remember.
We did a little bit, but not too much about the whole setup.
Yeah.
Just real basic.
Okay.
Just real basic.
I couldn't remember.
But this is a great option. I mean, like my program, I'm fishing like when I'm bobber dogging two anglers up front. One person has a bead. As the day goes on and we grow our confidence and trust, the person will have 2 bead leaders. And then the other person's just doing eggs. And when I'm doing eggs like this, I don't run a dropper off that. I'm like, man, you're getting eggs, and that's where you're getting them. It's for a reason.
Will you just straight eggs or spawn sack?
I'll play with a little bit of both, but usually just straight eggs. Sometimes a spawn sack on that, but usually just straight eggs. Yeah.
Hold it up to the camera and probably there.
I'll get close to it.
Yeah, straight into the camera. Back there.
Yeah, and those are just 2 number 1 hooks.
There you go.
And then
Corky.
Yes.
You're nice and sharp. Come back towards you a little bit. That right there.
Some cerise yarn.
Yeah,
and that's
looks
just
like that. It floats because
Gets it off the bottom a
helps
little
get it off the
bit.
bottom. It gives you just like a little bit better of a presentation.
Yeah.
And then with those 2 hooks, man, you just get a little bit better of a chance because these fish are special. And when you do get the chance at a fish with 1,000 casts, we want to have it on for a while and get it to the boat.
You want it more than just.
It looks fishy.
I like that. I really do.
That's how I run it. But we're so lucky that with this bobber dogging thing, you can put anything. Like and I'm sure you do too, but we have a whole nother tray of worms right here. Yeah. And you can run them that way. And these are just wacky style. Like these ones, I have beads, I have corkies, and you can run them in all different shapes, colors, sizes. Like that's the coolest thing with this. I mean, it's just not.
I'm gonna take one out.
Do your thing, man.
We're just gonna take one out. We gotta see.
So last time when I did this, I learned that we're spatially challenged in here. We can't have giant 10.5 foot rods.
Yep.
So this time,
better. This actually, honestly, out of all the lives we've done, this is probably the best.
So this time it came
showing how
I was like, we're just gonna come set up with bobbers on how we would fish them, and we describe the rods like. And with that, one thing that we did miss when we were talking about fishing the slip floats. What kind of rod do you like to fish with, say, like a general slip float for long leader bead or a jig? Just your general setup for like slip float.
Go down the line.
Because we talked about kind of like the meat of
size of the rod.
Yeah. What kind of length of rod? What heaviness would you run for just a general slip float and jig or bead?
I use a 6 to 10, probably weight 9.9. Yeah, 10.6.
Yeah.
I like that. I like to mend my line.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
mending the line is huge.
Yeah.
Is That is, I think when you take out people for the first time, that is what I try to make them grasp, that it's all about presentation. And if you're not mending that line, you might be pulling, depending on bobber.
If your bobber's not sitting straight up
and down,
if it's leaned over, it's not trailing right. It's all about, and that's once again, that's why I asked you what length
A
rod.
lot of times, if I'm using heavyweight deeper water, I go to 8 to 15 rod.
Yeah.
Rod.
So I mean, a lot of the time you're going to want that 10 foot to 10.6 rod.
Yeah.
Whether it's like a 6 to 10, 8 to 12, 10 to 15, somewhere in there. Especially if there's winter steelhead where we're fishing rivers with a lot of flow.
I think we all run about the same rod.
Yeah,
I would
but
imagine.
you want that 10.6 length for the mending that you're
the
talking
mending,
about.
yeah.
Well, with these floats, it's so crucial, and these are so narrow. It's so crucial that you can work your line and not have them laid over. Because when it's laid over, stuff's swooping around. It's going
Get too much line out, right?
And I think it really comes in a factor with these.
Oh, yeah.
These are
You lose a lot of fish just trying to catch up to that line.
Exactly. And then when you try to catch up, you have a belly somewhere and you're pulling line, and then you just pull yourself out. I mean, I always tell people it's cool to have a little bit of line out, but we don't need no country mile.
We don't need country mile.
Yeah. The boat's going to get down there. I was like, unless I'm fishing, unless you're fishing with a couple buddies and you're literally just trying to beat everybody. Oh yeah, long line the heck out of everybody. But when you're taking people, it's like, okay, the boat's going to get down there. We're going to work on our casts, and that's one thing I wanted to touch on too. A lot of these holes that we're going to go into. When I said we're dropping the drift boat in and I have you fishing right below the boat, when we come into a hole, we're making short, medium, and long casts.
Yep.
I work it just like a grid system.
I do the same thing.
That's the best way to work this.
I usually start a little further and I'm going to work my way in this line,
Exactly.
Cover the whole section.
Or vice versa.
Yeah. Or vice
Exactly.
versa.
Yeah.
Until you're fishing with your best friends, then you go for the money.
Then you go money shot. You know where that's the thing is, where they're going to sit. You don't need to grid it, but you know it's like, oh, I'm going to get it.
But when you're lucky enough to, whether you're bank fishing or you're fishing out of your drift boat or a raft, you can go with a couple people and take your time and really take apart a hole doing those short, medium, long casts. That's where you're going to find success, and that's where you're going to find fish that people might have missed.
I mean, I do a fair amount of bait fishing for steelhead because I love hiking out.
Yeah.
And that is gridding the water is
reading the water,
gridding it,
and then making all those casts, because that's
crucial
to find your fish. Because you can walk down and when the water's right, you can make 5 casts in the gut of the hole, and that's that, and you either got one or you didn't. But maybe making a couple of casts way up the head of the hole, or maybe going way down somewhere else. I mean, just playing around and maybe making those short casts. I don't know how many times. And it feels like it's any time I don't make those short inside casts.
And you're like, oh, it's not going to be there.
Yeah, and then we float down, and I'm like, oh shit, there it is. There's a fish.
Well, a lot of times there's a big boulder or something, and the fish are just staging right behind it, and not moving nowhere.
That's one
Casting
thing
all around it, and if you don't hit that section,
Boulders are fish magnets. So say when you're coming down the river, what are you guys like? What is your perfect steelhead hole?
I'm a seam guy.
Seam?
I love a seam.
I like structure,
I mean, if there's a nice,
so like big boulders.
if there's boulders,
somewhere they can tuck and just hold in.
Boulders are fish magnets. Seams are fish magnets because it's just an easy passage. Like that's one thing people have to remember. These fish are going to take the easiest route up the river. And sometimes you will find them in raging water, but they're just like us. I don't want to run on a treadmill at 10 miles an hour. I'd rather run on a treadmill at like
calmer water.
They want to come, but don't X out the fast water, because I've got some big burners in that.
Yeah,
gnarly.
Every fish is going to swim through some fast water at some point. When you come into the perfect hole, usually I think it's going to be anywhere from like 3 feet deep, trailing probably usually about 6-7 feet deep, walking speed
on the
water,
line,
maybe a slight little riffle on top. It'll have some of that structure, whether it's bedrock or some boulders out there in the middle, but something that will kind of have like your top, middle, and ending to the hole, and then with that, it's giving the fish multiple places to lay. You will find them in just like one little pocket or one little seam on the fly. But those perfect holes where you have that kind of have everything, that's where you can pull in and you can work it, and you can do your bobber dog, you can do your slip float fishing, and you can do our short, medium, and long casts that we were talking about. That's what I'm looking for.
Tail out game. Sometimes, hit the tail.
Oh, yeah.
I caught a lot of fish up in the head of the seam, too, though.
At the head of the holes in the tail, it's like there's one thing I know, usually before I leave a hole, I'll sit there, unless I'm in the sled or something like that. But in the small rivers in the drift boat, we can just anchor up and just hang out. Before I leave a hole, I'll sit there, and in the tail out, I either will swing a plug or a spoon. And you can't sleep on swinging plugs. So, I mean, it's just as effective as a spoon, but it's something different. They float, so you can kind of line yourself up sometimes. Or people that are just new and learning, it's cool because plugs float. They don't get snagged up sometimes. And
Do you want to dive into that or finish?
oh, we can finish that. I'm just kind of touching all over the place while I'm thinking of stuff. 'Cause it's like, man, like rods that we
go everywhere, man.
Well,
I love it.
like we're talking about that. And it's like, okay, what kind of rod should we use? And then with the bobber dogging thing, like
With the rods, let's finish out that. What weight do you like?
So I mean, well, for the slip float deal, and I'm like, if you go with me
You
tomorrow,
a little super soft tip?
yeah. So I'm fishing 6 to 10, 10-6 Lamaglass rod. That's what I'm fishing for the slip float deal, and that works out perfect. Whether I'm fishing, and I'm usually always going to do a 1/2 ounce bobber, but the lead is what I'll change.
Yep.
So this right now for the heavier flows, a 1/2 ounce lead, and then as it drops out, I'll go to a 1/3 or a 1/4.
Yep.
And sometimes I'll drop down to a smaller bobber, but typically this time of year, 1/2 ounce is perfect. I think.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, it is.
About this. I mean, it's
yeah. It's like what you're fishing with your non-slip float, you know,
Yeah.
that sort of deal. Like that is awesome to me. Like low, like say we get to a stretch here where we have like 30-degree weather, the rivers have dropped out, no rain for 5-6 days, and they're
Yeah.
like the lowest of the low that we have in the winter. Oh yeah, that's when you pull out like the balsa floats and you do your inline stuff
Yeah.
like that. You pull out all these little tricks, or you really long leader them because that's when you have to. Or I mean, that's when I'll run a lot of plugs. Me personally, like I'll go sit on plugs in a lot of these holes.
Yeah.
The water's really low and clear because that's how you're going to get them.
Yep.
But it all has its time and place. Like perfect conditions, perfect days, long leader beat or jig coming through, bobber
dogging.
worms, bait, beads. I mean, we have the wacky worm set up right here. Those are killer.
Those are killer.
I mean, that
I
really
love
counts
that.
for a lot of fish.
I love this.
Yeah, and then you can play with the corkies. You know, like I just find corkies that kind of accentuate the colors of the worms. Yeah.
I've noticed with steelhead, it's you can go down down to as far as you want in the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many.
It's endless.
It's literally endless, and now
That's
like
what's so cool with it.
it's crazy to think like, you know, that the styles of fishing how it changes is it's getting more and more and more.
Yeah.
You know,
I think what's so cool with steelhead is you can pick your favorite way to catch them, and you can go catch them.
And
If
you
you want
can
to
go
feel,
catch
if you want to feel the bait bite, cool. Go drift pencil
Yeah.
lead and eggs and feel the bait bite. You know, if you just want to fish worms all winter, you can have a blast just fishing worms all winter, and you'll catch a
Yeah.
bunch of steelhead. Like the
agree.
way I look at it, like I love having a bent rod. I love taking people and them experiencing it all. And I fish to me what I think gets me the most bites, but also there's time and places where I fish the worms, where I fish bigger beads, or I fish smaller beads, and having all this kind of ready to go and knowing the right times to put it out there, I think is what makes your biggest helping factor.
yeah,
Knowing when and where to use the right stuff. That's what plays a big part. Because like river's really low and clear. A big worm might not be my first choice, but man, there's a lot of days where low and clear you get them on big worms.
You do.
You know, and
you know, I've noticed that
it's just wild. That's the cool thing about it.
is trying to have. I kind of carry like all the tools. Like
Yeah.
I'll have a rod that is bobber dog setup, fixed float, maybe a worm. I mean, I don't, you know, it kind of gets crazy, but I like to throw in that hole. If I'm going to sit on it, I'm going to throw everything at it.
Yeah, and like typically what I see, I don't know what you guys see. So typically when you find fish, usually between like 6 to 10, 12 casts, you're gonna hook.
You're going to hook up.
You
If they're
know
there, they're there.
If they're there, they're there, and that's when it comes to that like short, medium, and long.
It's a terrible thing for me, like not the other.
Yeah.
I like trolling for salmon. If I ain't catching all of that, I'm changing.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't do that because you don't change too much. 'Cause all those 2 things, 3 things, I
Yes.
It's
always
finding-
catch those fish.
It's finding the fish. You know, there's a reason that you can see the
Still-
colors I'm using.
We were talking about that on the float. Dude. It was like, how many times do you catch yourself
Changing stuff up.
changing stuff up when you just need to go?
It's just the fish aren't
The
there.
fish aren't
You
there.
know that works. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
so many fish.
You want? I'll give
I'm
you.
using.
I'll give you the greatest wisdom I can give you. I don't care. I don't care if you're the best fisherman in the world. If there ain't no fish home, you ain't gonna catch them.
You ain't gonna catch
You
them.
know what I mean?
You ain't gonna catch them.
I don't care how good you are.
Mhm.
If they ain't there, you ain't getting them. And if they are there, you're going to hook them. And
Yeah.
I can tell you, like I tell people every day when I run these trips that if they're there, we're having the opportunity. The only question is, do we get it to the boat or is it an epic fight and we lost it or do we hook it
Yeah.
and lose it? But if they're there, we're catching
We're
them.
catching
I have fished these methods long enough in my life to tell you if they're there, we're going to get them.
Yep.
You know, if they want to bite, we're going to get them. There are some times where you have to trick them and do some different stuff. Don't get me wrong, but under, I'd say your normal best conditions, fishing these things are going to catch them, and they're going to catch them if the fish are there. You don't have to be like, man, I need to hang out in the hole for an hour and be.
Yeah.
It's like as you come down, like I like what I like to do. I stay on the move. I fish a good distance of river, and I'm kind of essentially on the hunt. I will post up and hang out in some spots if I feel like it's a good spot and maybe we need to slow down, or maybe we caught one and there should be another one. But for the most part, I'm on the move and I'm very confident in the gear that I'm fishing.
Yeah.
You know, that's
having confidence in your gear
Yeah.
is almost 90% of fishing out.
Oh yeah, and just knowing that you're doing it all right. You know, I had days. One day last week on Saturday, you know, literally floated the whole river, didn't catch a gosh darn thing. River was perfect, really sucked. Monday, same exact gear, literally didn't even
Change
nothing. Same leaders on the rods, everything. Went out there, me and a buddy, we hooked into 7 and landed 4. You know, like I had to change leaders throughout the day after we started. But
It's the same thing.
But
Same thing.
But it comes down to just having the confidence. You know, like I go into it doing this, like knowing my program works. I've done it too many times. I know it works. Like, yes, I have to change some things out sometimes as we go, but that's just the conditions and the river and stuff like that. But it's knowing that you're confident. That is the key to any fishing. Like just not saying it like in a cocky way. I'm not trying to do it like that, but just fishing things that you know work.
Catch a fish.
And will fish and catch them.
I think with new anglers is actually just going out and trying it. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to go, and you know. Nowadays, there's so many resources you can find a video how to on everything, but getting out on the water and you know, just trying it.
Yeah, time. I mean, that's what
time on the water.
What separates a lot of people. Like,
exactly.
And we're so lucky now. If you don't have 5 days a week to fish and you get out a couple times a month, there's so many videos to help educate you on ways to
fast
fish all
forward
this gear, you know, like how we're tying these little bead stoppers to what kind of water you're looking for. You know, obviously boulders and small streams are just fish magnets, whether the fish are laying ahead, to the side, or behind them. And then finding the seams, that walking speed water is always something you want to look for. I mean, that's just killer. That's like textbook classic steelhead water that you want to find.
The juice.
And then finding that 2 to 6, 8 feet.
Yeah.
You know, but there's so many resources nowadays to find knowledge to just put you ahead of the game. Or back, even me growing up, like I'm not that old, but man, like I was very lucky that I grew up and learned this back in the 90s and early 2000s before all this stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was like you learned
You had the edge.
Yeah, but you had to learn it from all these people. You know, like I learned it from my dad, I learned it from his friend, and then it was just time out there. And then like just drifting pen sled and eggs, and now we have bobber dogging. So it's like, man, it's just
corgi for me, corgi yarn. That's all I use.
You know, but it's like now we learned with that, you got good at that, and now these other things that we're fishing, it's like just a hybrid edition of that.
It's small little tweaks.
Yeah, but it makes it so much more deadly.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. It's like if you can understand your core basics of all this, all these things that we're doing now just make it so much more deadly than what it was.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
Show them the stealth dogger there.
Yeah, get those bad boys up there.
The rubelized bobbers.
The rubelized bobbers.
Yeah, so
yeah, talk about them. I know they're weighted a little bit.
I haven't got a chance to fish these. I saw.
Oh, we're hooked. Get these.
I didn't put it back. I'll put it back. So, from my understanding, these are weighted at the gray part, right?
Yeah.
He's got weight down here, and then your indicator, and this is all 3D printed, which is even crazier. And I think he was talking about he was releasing this when we had him on. I couldn't remember.
Weight on that one side.
Yeah,
it's when bobber dog.
Yeah,
your bobber's just like this in the water.
And it's cool that
But then you always have the high vis side.
The high vis sides. Like it was funny when we were doing the live feed with Chris Vitolius. He was sharpening out his floats, but
he was like building his own.
He was building almost his own, and then he would actually. He was talking about cutting and slipping some kind of weight a little bit.
Oh, so that would always.
So it always lands. So it always lands on the dark side down. So
I gotcha.
Which was kind of
It's also got a concave side and a pointed side. So this side's floating down the river. You could turn.
And then the concave side.
The concave.
Grab more water.
Yeah. Or you pushes because more water gets in.
Pushes more, and so like this style here, it's flat on one side.
Yeah.
It's I can see it. That's cool. I'd like to try one, see how it floats.
Interesting. I'm trying.
X3, is that the name of this? X3? Do we want to get to
the size? I think it's
the size?
Stealth dogger. X3 is the size. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Right. You want to zoom in on it?
Oh, I'm transition. There you go.
And just for reference, this is a large bobber dogger from Fishfield. just for reference for the size of the X3.
It's a little bigger.
It's just a tad bit bigger, not much.
Yeah.
What's the weight though? Once you pick them up, they're pretty close. Pretty close.
I think it's pretty. I mean, it's pretty close
Oh yeah, yeah,
considering this is weighted down here.
yeah. But it just probably has a little bit, so that way it always
More
sits
plastic.
the right way.
He's using a heavier.
More.
Yeah.
How much if it is? It's probably that for sure.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to?
A little bit more just to touch on the bobber dogging deal. So with the,
Yeah, let's go with that.
Doggers, you can kind of see I have a 3-way swivel down here that goes to my lead. Typically, when we're bobber dogging, you're going to want to have anywhere from about 8 to 10 feet of bumper line. I like to use like a 20-pound fluorocarbon. That's what I use right to my braid. I do like the double uni to tie it.
Yep.
And then with that though, I just run that 8 to 10 feet. Like I don't run a bobber stop and run like 15 feet of bumper and dictate it. 8 to 10 seems to work really good because in your runs where it is like say 2 to 6 feet deep, you're down there and all you need to do is maybe manipulate your lead a little bit, whether it's at more or take a little bit off.
Yep.
But you're skipping across bottom. And then some of those holes that you get to that we're going to fish that are say 10 to 12 feet deep. Well, hey, now you're 10 feet to your lead, and then whatever you got on is a couple feet below that.
Yep.
And you're just bobber fishing, and it works out great.
Quick and easy to change that depth.
Yeah.
Exactly. And and then with that, if you say you run like 15 feet of bumper and you're only fishing 8 feet deep, well, that I've noticed at times that monofilament.
You want to pull one of these out real quick
Yeah.
so they can see how it kind of floats down the river.
Yeah. You go for it. Come on.
Or a bead, it don't matter.
Here, we got that one out.
That one's out.
Do your thing.
Oh, now I got it stuck in the carpet. So it kind of will sit like this.
Oh my God.
You're trying. Your bobber pushing.
And then? Oh, yeah. And then the biggest thing, because with this technique, you have
So this is downstream. This is going downstream.
and it'll be laid over on its side, just like that.
And then it's literally
Just kind of sucked underneath it a little bit.
just sucked on a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's just tinking down.
And as the fish come up and bite it, you'll see your bobber usually do like a couple quick little tap, tap, tap.
Yep.
Just go down.
And then drain.
And with this, though, because you have enough line out, you don't want to just set the hook. You want to reel until you feel.
Reel till you feel.
That's the saying at this point with this method. Reel till you feel, and then you can give them a little pop. But typically, if you reel till you feel, you're just
Yep.
going to have them.
You never don't know either on these bobber dogging bobbers. There's a flat side and a cone side, like I've been explaining. The flat side is pushed by the water for the bobber to sit flush with the water like this because it gives whatever you're using a different presentation, a different angle in the water.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's
Yeah, and anywhere that you would typically walk in and you would be like, man, I could drift fish this hole, that's where you're going to bobber dog. I mean, it's the same technique, same thing, just kind of a hybrid version and a little bit easier to manage. And
Yep.
for first timers, it's somebody that can cast that out and have success and not be spending all day getting snagged up and retying.
retying. Yeah.
That's what these methods are there for. These methods are there to make you be more successful and spend less time retying and just get out there and be able to cast after cast after cast. I mean, that's what we were talking about. It takes a fish of 1,000 casts, but if we can find ways to cut the corner, and that's
make it more.
Exactly. That's how you can get more fish. And that's what these methods are there for, I think.
So going from now, we've kind of hit all the bobber floats, the bobber dog, and the slips.
Yeah.
No plug.
And we've all, if we've ever used one of these for steelhead fishing, you've probably caught a steelhead on this thing.
Oh, yeah. Anymore. I mean,
Sorry, T.
Okay, hold on.
there you go.
I'm going to, just trying to find the camera.
There you go.
Right there.
Oh, there you go. Nice and sharp. What is that? No.
It's a Yakima 3.0.
3.5.
Or is it a 3.5?
Oh, yeah.
3.5.
Yeah.
Of course, you
I couldn't even tell you the name.
change the rings out and the swivels and
Oh, yeah. So I like running them with 2 watts.
With
the 2 watt big rubber
Side
bait.
wash.
Yeah, sidewash. I do that for a reason. And I brought a little biggie of some coon shrimp. I'll show you guys right here.
So Tyler's going to show us.
Yeah. This is what I like to do.
He
It's really good for, so
This is super top secret, by the way. This is STS limited. Only going to hear it from this.
there you go. There you go.
I just joking.
Yeah, no, it's been around for a while. I've seen it. A lot of East Side guys are doing it, but anymore, a lot of people like to run diver and bait. That's really cool. It's really effective. But this way, I'm getting the best of both worlds. And then with that, say the fish comes up and bites it and it gets my bait. well, you still have a plug back there to annoy it and get that strike or get that bite. And so what I do anymore, and you can see, let's go back to our center camera real quick. Okay. Okay, we're good. So you can see before I have 2 Siwash 2 watts on there with size 5 barrel swivels. Whoop. You're good.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Leave it.
Tio, probably go.
You're good right there.
Yeah, because then he's gonna tie.
Yeah, zoom in a little bit more. Then I'll put the coon shrimp on there and show you guys how I do it. Yeah. So okay. So I leave the factory split rings on there. I just take off the hooks. I'm not a big fan of the little treble hooks, and I like switching them out. Then I put a size 5 little barrel swivel on to a 2 watt. You can use just a regular Siwash. I like the big rubber bends. And with that, whether you're running bait or not, I think it's just a great setup. You get a 2 watt hook in them. It has the swivel. It can move around. But I take it a step further. On the belly hooks, it might be a little hard on camera, but I take our coon shrimp. Instead of wrapping it on there.
Oh, it's money. It's money.
Yeah, we'll get it. I'll lay it out too. So I take I leave the coon shrimp the way they come, just curled up like that. I put it right through the meat here. There's probably a name for all these technical terms, but I go right through the meat of the curl, put it on there, and I let it sit right on the shank of the hook. So that way when it's out there, it's just laying just like that. And it looks perfect.
That is money.
It looks natural.
Looks very natural.
And if no one's ever caught a stud on a plug, there's not a better hammer down bite.
Exactly.
Drain it.
That is,
but
not a better.
I can't eat for 2 more days, but that's not gonna be out of
No, in the water, it looks killer because it hangs right back behind the end of the plug, but then you still have that sneaker little hook out there. Because typically with the bait on there, they're going to try to get that hook, but that one's what gets them perfect.
Oh yeah.
But putting it right there, just kind of in the corner through the thick of the meat right there, they stay on really well. You can run those through fast water.
Part.
I mean,
that's tough part.
That's how I would set them up trolling out in the Columbia for springers, you know. And with that, I can let them out in fast water, slow water, and these plugs run good. And this is with the 3.5. That's balanced really well, and it runs really good. I've been doing this the last couple of years. I learned it from some dudes.
The 3.0s or
the 3.0s. I'll run a belly hook and no back hook, and then I'll just maybe do a tail or a really, really small coon shrimp.
Small, yeah.
It's just
3.5.
The 3.5.
The 3.5 can handle.
They're balanced.
Yeah, they're really balanced.
But with this, whether it's steelhead or later on tributary spring chinook, this is a deadly method.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you have everything. You have the bait, you have the scent, and then it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You know, like diver and bait. If you get hit and you don't get the fish, you're wondering, do I bait on? Do I reel it up? What do I do? Hey, you get hit on this and you don't get it. You know you still have a plug that's working perfectly.
Yeah, you're still fishing. You're still fishing.
Usually if they hit it and miss it, they just got the head or the tail. There's still bait on there, and they're going to come back. You just keep working it down, and they're going to come back and smash it. So when it comes to plug fishing, that is a cool little secret. Been doing it for the last couple of years. I don't really think it's a secret, but it's not getting utilized enough. Yeah. Oh yeah. The plug too. I can't wait to fish that plug. Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame you. But yeah, try that.
No, I mean, I run a lot of plugs. I actually if a lot of people's fish with me, they know I love pulling plugs.
Yeah.
In the big boat for steelhead, for winter steelhead. It is so, Tony and I used to do it when I was a kid, and it's so effective. And just throwing that little extra scent or bait,
makes all the difference.
It makes all the difference.
And that's just the look of it too.
Snap.
Like when you have it down in the water and the plug's down, and this is literally just hanging out right at the back, and this hook's kind of, you lose it in the water. It looks so perfect. 'Cause it's just hanging out right down below it, you know, and it's the best of both worlds. And I fished with a couple friends that are into diver and bait, and this will outfish them.
Oh yeah.
And it's just because the looks of it, I think. You know, the spinning glow is cool. The spinning glow works, but having the right colored plug and a little bit of right bait behind it, man.
And back to what I said earlier too. You know, the areas in the holes are fished hard, and those rivers you're on, or the river you're on. Go to a plug.
Exactly.
If those holes are so fished so hard and those fish are so skittish, you put a plug on a hammer plug. You say action that plug.
A plug or go to a spoon.
I think
if you don't want to row a plug right through the gut of the hole and try to work for the fish, you can anchor up off the sides and throw a spinner or a spoon.
Cleo spoon.
But you're going to get that same reaction bite. That's what it is. You're getting fish that have maybe been picked on or seen these soft baits because everybody's fishing them. You know what I mean? Or seen a million worms float by them. But then a plug, that is so much of a reaction bite. It's that fight or flight syndrome that we have where 9 out of 10 times though the fish is going to smash that and eat it, get it out of the way versus swimming off.
And
That's why you're saying that. I mean, it makes total sense. On those busy days, be a little different. You know, everybody else is throwing soft beads.
Don't sleep on that.
Yeah.
It's
But don't sleep on the whole plug.
the whole plug. Yeah, don't sleep on the whole
We're still
plug.
playing on pressure beads off that right there.
Yeah.
Anything else? Yeah, because you're like forcing them to eat it. You know what I mean? That's what it comes down to. Where this, they have a choice. They have to want to bite that, and after they see
This is just sheer pissing them off.
yeah, just pissing them off in their face. You put the right colors down, it's game on. And then when you get them hooked up, man,
We're shouting out Bill Reeves at Millennial for that.
well, of course, that's who I'm fishing. I mean, that's to me the best bait out there. So you pair it up with this coon shrimping.
Right.
I can tell you that right
I'll
now.
tell you that plunking fish was with Millennial Coon Shrimp.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's killer, you know, and
Yeah.
we're lucky on that front too that there's a lot of coon shrimp manufacturers, but
Yes.
definitely Millennial is right up there with probably the best.
You haven't tried to do all. I give it a shot. For sure.
Yeah, no, that's all I fish. You know me, that's all I fish.
Yes.
So yeah, but with that, put that on your plug, and just
And even like I could see, like I use Brad's Wigglers too.
you can probably do the same thing.
I wonder if you can
You just got to
do the same thing, play with it a little more.
Yeah, I haven't played with it too much on the Brads.
Way to change your action probably if you too much.
But even like
Because I run both. I run Brad's and
yeah.
Yakima.
So trolling for coho, I fish those a lot out on the Columbia.
Yep.
I do the
Oh,
same
yeah.
thing. I'll troll them with the coon shrimp on there. You know,
Is there
I do that
any-
for springers? Yeah, I mean above the dam, like trolling at a couple spots with plugs, dude. Same thing. Put
Same
coon
thing.
shrimp
Is there
on.
for you guys? What's your go-to color?
Any metallic blues, pinks, greens?
You
I'm
have a box.
really
I saw a
old
box over there.
Dr. Dennis,
Yeah, I mean,
Do you want to show those colors? I know.
oh, I don't care. These, really, the best colors are on my rods at home.
right?
These are ones that look cool, like that plug. That looks super.
That looks fishy.
Yeah.
I would run it. I mean, I would
Yeah.
run it.
I mean blue, man, not blue.
Yeah, I love blue.
Blues.
But stuff like this, I mean, like this tadpole, this is like a double eagle color. You got to find something like that, like in the off shots with the tadpoles.
It's color.
That's
Nothing
Oh, tadpole.
go
Yeah.
wrong with those.
I mean, your classic Dr. Death.
So you want to go? You want to go down in the?
But that double eagle color, that hands down,
Yeah.
you better hang on with that. That's a good one. But then you got like just your standard friggin' like blue pirate, you know, like really these are all ones.
I got
Just
this
grab my tadpoles because it's just easy.
That big shoulder fish, the other picture I sent you.
Yeah,
Actually got it. I don't know how I sent it to you.
that was
That
on
was from a
tadpole.
Blue pirate, yeah. I mean,
Blue pirate.
really,
Blue pirate.
magnet though.
yeah.
That's like a staple. I would say that guy.
Yeah, those are just like your staple
That
colors.
guy.
You know what I mean? If you can find, like, I love this double. Like, that's my favorite.
That is.
I've caught a lot of my bigger fish too off plugs. It seems like.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I've caught some nice ones off bees and everything else too, but a lot of nice size fish and plugs.
Can't go wrong. Here, we'll throw the Yakima in comparison of the tadpole.
Oh yeah. That's cool. I don't know. There's a lot of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Here. Yeah. There's just too many cool ones. Plugs are fun.
Plugs are fun and they're very addictive.
Yeah. Plugs are fun. I don't know. There's so many cool ones.
It's like going to Baskin Robbins
Yeah.
and just trying. That's how I.
I mean, but
That's how
really
I
though,
go.
like the plugs that are on my rods right now. The plugs on my rods at home right now is going to be pretty much like a Dr. Death, a cerise with a black bill.
Yep.
And then I have a blue pirate. It's not like the same rendition. It's kind of a different rendition of the
So
blue pirate.
Leo
but-
in there.
Oh, it's one of R&B's.
I got Dr. Death, Blue Pirate.
Yeah, just an R&B.
On both mine. It's most main two I run.
Yeah, you know, and then like I'll run this. Like this one's a Maglip. This one's their double eagle. You know, I've caught fish with this one,
Oh yeah,
and that's a good one.
good color.
Yeah, your metallic blues, pinks, your metallic grains, those are good colors. And then obviously, like, I mean, they make so many cool colors that catch us as fishermen versus probably fish.
Yeah.
But
That's the funny part. Is you get lost. It's like, man, that's the coolest color ever. Is it
yeah,
fishy? And then you're
but
like,
is it going to catch fish?
It's a
You know,
catch,
and
right?
like they're going to. I mean, like that
I'm
one
not
for
today.
shrimp. I haven't ran that one yet, dude.
it looks really good to me.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it looks.
Oh,
good to
yeah.
me. It's
Yeah.
got me
so
sold.
catch.
Yeah, you know, but
That's the world. You got metallic blue, chrome.
has all the right colors. Yeah, it meets all the right colors. That's just it.
Lights out.
Yeah, it should be. You know what I mean? But if you're just going to go to the store and you want to keep it simple and buy 3-4 plugs,
Yeah.
buy just your classic cerise,
Yeah.
metallic blue, metallic green. You know, like when I was a kid, all we did was like, besides drift fishing eggs
Yeah.
and stuff like that, it was literally pull little hot shots. And then on really low water, we would cast like steelies in the tailouts, or we would cast hot shots as well.
Yep.
You know, and that's what we would do, or tadpoles. but it was always just very simple: metallic pink, metallic green, metallic blue. That's all we fished.
Bright orange looks too.
My orange good.
Oh yeah,
Bright
Yeah.
orange.
I use a lot of bright orange for coho. A lot for coho too.
So this is like when the water's
Orange was
coming
green.
back in. This is
There you go.
Was that-
Yeah.
Gotta get it out.
Still had eggs.
Yeah. You can't sleep.
You can't sleep on
the
that.
cowgirl.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
cowgirl.
It'll catch everything in the river.
But
Right?
fight them the Cowboys, huh?
Yeah. Oh, you can't sleep on that
Oh,
color.
we gotta go to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Give it a shot. There it is.
One of the fishiest colors, man. It's fluorescent orange.
This one.
chartreuse.
That one right there is money.
This one.
Yeah.
Not good that part.
That's one thing too. When it comes to this whole steelhead fishing thing, don't sleep on chartreuse. Chartreuse is a very
One more
underutilized color
too.
for.
Yeah, but if you got 3 plugs going, three different
Yeah.
colors.
It's like
That's what I do. I kind of
Yeah.
when I'm taking the big boat and I got people in there,
Throw
I
two
throw
different colors on.
3 or 4 colors on,
Mhm.
which
See what they're liking that ball.
there's usually
Yeah.
there's a high probability one that is going to hit, but it's nice to see that if that's what they want that day.
And a
you
lot of
have
times
that.
it's not just the colors. It's actually
It's the actual.
Oh, yeah.
and
they're all
and
on
you know,
the when you buy it.
it's crazy.
exactly. It's either a fish catcher or it's not.
You
Yeah.
put some sticky liquid on
I
Now 4 rods are all the same color lure on.
Yeah,
One,
bring
one
it.
just get hit all the time.
do you
them.
like?
Bring the soap though.
I'm kind of
Okay, that brings up a good question.
Yeah.
Are you guys, especially because it sounds like you run plugs probably more than I do, are you into putting scent on your plugs?
I do sometimes.
I do.
I do sometimes.
I do sometimes.
Nuh-uh.
I do a little bit.
I will not put
A
scent.
lot of times I'll put.
Really?
What I'll do a lot of times.
I'll put bait on it, but I
A
will
lot
put
of
scent
times
on it.
I'll just put some on the hook.
Okay.
Up like 10, 12 inches up
Yep.
Okay.
above it.
That's
I'm not going.
Because then you're not
yeah.
No way. No way. No way.
trying to wash it
Because
off.
I've
It's
seen
fun.
people do that, and you're like, man, you just really whacked that out.
I'm not into scent on plugs. The most I will go is maybe a shot of WD-40 and then just send her
That's
back.
what you do. You get like a 10 with WD-40 in it. You
Yeah.
just start with WD-40.
I was
and all
like,
that
with
stuff.
plugs and spoons, it's such a reaction bite. I just don't really mess. Like, I'll add the bait,
Right.
but I'm not going to add the scent because I don't really think it matters. I'm sure it does. Me personally, it's more about reaction.
Yep.
And, but with that though, like, what are you guys running? So on your plug rod, what kind of line are you running? Running monofilament to it, braided line? Like
I run braids to a backing.
Okay.
to like a
what
leader.
what kind of rod are you guys running? Like, what's your plug rod? If you were going to fish a plug rod,
Like soft door action.
So I would say soft,
7 foot
like
10, shorter rod.
an 8 foot, maybe
Yeah.
a 7.
nice one piece.
A 1 piece. Honestly,
Yeah.
I used to fish a 2-piece, and then I started. Tony
Yeah.
kind of got me on the 1 piece, and I just love the action of a 1
Yeah,
piece.
dude, I still fish some original.
I'm up to a 15-pound
Yeah,
leader.
leader,
Yeah.
little heavier.
So are you running? Okay, so you're running braid. Are you running like 30-pound braid?
I got
50-pound?
20-pound braid. I run 20-pound braid. Then I'll run probably like, I don't know, 6 to 10 feet.
I usually whatever length of rod I have, I go just beneath the top.
Yep, I go
Yeah.
just.
I don't I don't want to
Yep.
like knock through my
No.
clients or me really like knock
No.
through my eyes all
Yeah.
the time.
Or
So I always get the length of the rod and
Yep.
I go like a foot below that
And
top.
I'll run 12 to 15.
So that
I don't go any lower than
So
12.
I'll raise you guys one more. I run 30-pound braid right to my plug.
That's what I heard. That's what
You ain't losing that
my
fast.
reaction by it. It says this.
Well, it just plays into. I think this is purely a reaction. By
It is.
deal.
It really is.
So I run
Not line shot.
But I'm not running bright line. I run on my plug reels. I just run green, like
Green
Moss
Power
green.
Pro.
Yeah.
Or whatever, sorry.
I run a couple old, like they were what I used to drift fish with. They are 8.6, 8 to 12, 2-piece rods.
Yep.
I run 30-pound Power Pro right to the plug because I think if you have a nice soft rod with some
Yep.
good back pound, dude, they just slam it. And
Like I said, they're not line shy when it comes to this.
yeah,
No,
it,
I
it
mean,
just plays right into my reaction.
If they're gonna buy this thing,
And
they're worrying
used to-
about-
so growing up, dude, I used to run a little swivel or I'd tie like a blood knot and run like 6 feet a leader.
Yeah.
I used to do all that stuff, and then I just stopped being like, man, you know what? They're a fish.
They're
and
still gonna hit
bite it. And with that thin diameter braid, especially in green, it just flows in and goes away, and it's such a reaction bite. I think you just need a good rod.
Right?
I mean,
or a good
I
plug,
think-
or a swimmer,
Yeah.
or a swimmer.
Or well,
Yeah.
a
You
good
need a swimmer. You
A
need a
swimmer-
good. You need a good swimmer.
Yeah. No, you need a
But the
swimmer
rod-
and a good rod. But the rod does most of the work.
Yeah,
But with
100%.
that, I mean, I used to do the same thing as you guys, man. I used to run fluorocarbon and run leader and run this and run that. And then I got away from doing that because I think, especially in lower water, and that's when like the blood knots, that's cool or something like that, or
Yep.
do something like that. But just the least amount of bull crap in my line to my plug.
Yep.
And that's when I finally just was like, you know what? Just run braid right to it. It's a reaction bite.
Mhm.
They don't like, I don't know. Maybe it
I do that on like when I'm running like for salmon. I'll just run it straight to the braid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, try it sometime. I'm all about just making stuff simple.
Being cheap.
I'm not trying to be cheap, but I just I think that is such a reaction bite. Man,
Yeah.
just run the braid right to it. But also, what you're doing, it doesn't hurt either. That's what, once again, there's a million ways to skin a cat. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you set it up? And all of us are so majority the same, but those are differences.
No, it's just small. It's like very small. It's nothing huge.
No, but that's just how I do it versus how you do it. And
Yeah.
both of them work, which is cool. Because then, I mean, you ever want to get on the lazy side, just run braid to it.
Right.
It works. I can tell you that right now.
Actually, you know what? I do it for coho. I do run straight.
Yeah,
braid
oh,
for
so
coho.
I run it straight for braid to coho, but then they get so winded up. I wish I was running monofilament.
Yeah.
Because I'll just get so death rollish, and then I'm like, oh, why am I running braid straight to my plug?
Yeah.
We'll see.
But steelhead, they stay nice and straight. It's not a big deal.
Sometimes
Most part, not like the coho.
they like to jump.
But, well, yeah, I'm just saying, once you get them close to the boat, usually all coho are going to death roll, where steelhead, they're not going to death roll you.
Yeah.
And then you have like 20 feet of braided line wrapped up around it.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like on a wild fish that you're going to like, where coho, you can,
All up in
generally you're going to be keeping them.
all up in your net.
Yeah. Wherever you're fishing for coho, we're so lucky that we have a lot of wild fisheries around us to where you can keep a lot of wild coho, which is nice.
Yeah. The kill return's been amazing.
Oh yeah,
Not to go off subject, but
I mean, we can.
Balls is-
I mean, we kind of
Those
can.
are-
We can do whatever.
yeah,
But the coho, yeah. I mean,
it was amazing last year.
Yeah.
it was crazy. There was record runs in the Willamette.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome. The season. I mean, it was like that. It was like the gift that kept
Oh,
giving.
yeah.
It was just like I
And the
thought we were
quality-
done, and then it
The
just
quality of fish later in the season,
Yeah.
that's amazing. It's another.
There's still something.
and there's still
Right.
some
Oh,
like
yeah.
I think I was talking to Grandpa. There's a certain run in a certain river that you'll see chrome bright coho in December and January.
Oh yeah.
If you know those
all
rivers,
the way sometimes into early. I've
Yeah.
seen them very early February in a couple spots.
and we're talking
You know?
nickels.
Oh yeah, just came in.
Yeah, just came in.
100%. I mean, that's the cool thing about it too. In some of these coastal rivers, you can find some really cool fish.
Yeah.
That just will trickle in because they're in no hurry.
Right
And,
now.
Yeah. But
The Springer forecast. Do we want to
touch on it.
Do we want to touch on it, or do you want to just limit it to?
Pull out some of those spoons, you guys. We got to do a little hardware.
Oh, we got to go to hardware.
Get your spoons. There you go.
I have this.
We're talking about the reaction.
Sorry, T.
I have a feeling there's a little disconnect with the other guys on hardware.
I mean, you sold me on hardware.
Good old Cleo.
You know what's funny is 2 days ago we hooked a fish on
Those
this.
are,
So
those are the Williams 2/5. So there's a bully in there. It's heavier.
Yeah.
More of a shit up.
But I mean, spoons, like we were talking about, like
it's all in that reaction
Yeah,
bite.
it's reaction bite, and there's some days where spoons are the ticket. But before I leave any hole, I will throw spoons a lot.
Oh, there is a willy.
Tail out.
There is a willy.
But I love
Bully. That's a big one. There.
Well, spoon gives a way different action than anything else out there too. I think it's all its own action.
My first steelhead was awesome.
Yeah.
And perfect.
You got a lot of that cog, T.
Yeah. Hey.
That's all I group here. But yeah, they're just fun. Yeah, it's almost like the take is sore like drift fishing.
Well, it's more the take is more like a plug take.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's 0 to 60 just like that. It's just game on. And if you have nudger caught
Are we
on
on
a
this?
spoon, you are missing.
Camera T.
Yes, people should definitely be spoon fishing in those fast
These-
riffly spots. That
Definitely, exactly. That's that fast water.
Makes that-
yeah.
You know, that's that you can cast out and it just kind of works down.
Oh yeah.
Covers quite a bit of water too. The way it,
Yeah, I mean, like, say if you're fishing on the boat or on the bank, what I like to do, if I'm just going to go into a hole and spoon fish, I'll start at the top of the hole.
Yep.
With spoons, you never want to really cast up above yourself, always straight out, or maybe just slightly below yourself, and then just let
slightly
it
move
swing.
down with it.
Yep, and then
Cover that whole slot.
with the boat, or if you're on the bank, take a few steps down and just rinse and repeat. And you can do the same thing with spoons. You can do short, medium, and long casts.
Yep.
But you can drift fish them.
Oh yeah, you
That's
You
can.
totally can drift fish them.
Yeah.
I use them like I pull plugs through the thousand water too. I'll start at the top, put them out, and let them sit there and work.
Oh yeah, and just let him run behind the boat. Yep. Yep.
You did a video with Lucas about how to fish these for coho.
Yeah.
It's the same concept.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same concept.
They're very effective.
They're super effective. Don't sleep on these. Honestly, like when I'm bait fishing and I fish a spot, I like to throw a spinner.
But then it comes down to, say you walk into a very popular run on a river and you're bank fishing with tons of other people and you see they're doing like long leader bead or bobber dogging or drift fishing eggs. Dude, I'll just walk down behind them and
throw that out. Boom.
Yeah, because if there's one left in the hole, you're finding it with
Yeah,
that.
fine with
There's
that.
no messing around. You know, you're not going to walk down there and be like, man, I'm fishing my favorite speed and maybe I'll get one, but that guy just fished beads all day and he didn't get one. No, you walk down.
It
with
was
that
funny
speed
because
on.
we were fishing a couple days ago and we watched, 2 or 3 boats probably hammer this side, and I pull in on the bank, and literally this is what
Oh, yeah.
That's all. I mean,
that's what hooked it. And I know there was
Yeah.
I was watching them because I was up top pulling plugs, and I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go in there, but I went in there, and this is what we hooked it on.
yeah.
Something that
But it's just being different. It all just comes down to being different. Like you talk about running plugs more when there's a lot of people. It's just being different
Dude,
and then being thorough and having confidence in what you're doing. Like that's what this comes down to. Steelhead, they bite really, really good. Hardest thing about steelhead fishing is literally just finding them.
just finding them.
You find them and you have the right presentation on.
They're gonna hit it.
That's
Hang on. The only question is, are we going to land it or are we going to lose it?
Yeah,
And just have confidence and know that when you're out there that you're fishing the right stuff and try to make the right plays and learn from your successes and your failures out on the river. Not every day you're going to go out and catch a bunch of them, but any day you can get out there and learn from either catching one or maybe you didn't have success, but you can learn from what you want to do next time. That's what this is about.
just give her a try.
Yeah. And I mean, all of us guide winter steelhead. I'm Southwest Washington. I know you're kind of like Portland area.
Portland area, Portland area.
Yeah. And then
Not so much the coast.
No, but it sounds like he's down at the coast.
He's down at the coast. I mean, it's just honestly get out there and go.
Yeah. I mean, people want to talk about doom and gloom on fishing, but really there's some really good days coming ahead of us right now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And fishing, from what we've seen, I mean, ocean
It's already
temperatures,
been great.
river temperatures, lowland snow, tons of snow up on the mountain. We are in for this whole resurgence of really great fishing, and it's time to take advantage of it. Get out with your family, your friends, and whether it's winter steelhead or wait till spring chinook or fall time or summer. I mean, you can't really miss anymore. We have really great seasons, and when we know as guides when to capitalize on the best fishing.
Yep.
And that's what we're here for, and we're here to get you out, put you on fish, and have a great time, and show you all these things, how you could go out with your kids after fishing with us.
Yeah,
and
true.
catch them. I have so many
Just
people.
make a lifetime memories of it too.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, I have so many people that are like, man, like they want to take like a grandchild out after we go, and I'm like, give me a call, I'll show you how we set up.
Right.
Like I have no worries about sharing. That's why we're here. Like I want to share this.
That's why we're here.
I'm the same type of guy.
There's probably
I
not.
want to have everybody be successful out of it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it's all about.
We should all share and help, and we all learn from each other.
if you guys feel like it's going to be really tough to catch steelhead, what do you use?
You want to know what I would use?
I already know.
Here's a pro tip: buy some squid scent.
Yep.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Or some, I gotta take a little secret too. Procure steelhead combo.
Yeah.
That stuff has it in it, and that's it's great.
With that, you can fish a lot of different things. I can't tell you what I would fish because if it was really tough, I'm going to be fishing a lot. But I'm not, like I told you guys already, I'm not too into scents, but there is a couple scents I'll use, and don't sleep on squid.
Right.
That's-
Squid's amazing. Squid's
Yeah.
So, big bait and squid set.
Yep.
Globe. Actually, it's spawn sack.
Yeah, those are.
I don't know. It's hard to choose one because everything can have their days.
Yeah, but I mean, say you walk down the river. What Tony's asking, rivers, primo conditions. What's your favorite thing that you're going to fish?
Primo, he said tough conditions.
Tough, is that what you said?
Yeah, he said tough.
Bait,
Okay, well, if it's tough conditions,
Never bait.
if it is tough conditions and it's just going to be fishable, then yeah, I'm going to have to bobber dog jigs all day.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do. But if
Hot
you want,
water,
yeah,
bobber to
if you want
sand
trout, it's great, man. That's why there's so many cool methods that we can fish. Whether it's the bobber and jig, or you're doing club.
You know what? I'll be different. Right here. Nightmare jig,
Yeah,
fixed flow.
There you go. Well, no, I mean,
That's what I'm throwing.
yeah.
You could put some.
No, just
Tip it with shrimp.
With
tip it with the shrimp. That's what
there's
would be
some days
effective.
in high water where tip jig with shrimp is
They
awesome.
changed the game for me a few times.
Yeah.
On hard days like that, tip that ship, tip it, and
It
jig.
sounds like it's winding down a little bit.
All right, to get in here,
Yeah.
get in here, get in
Right?
here.
But we got a sale going on this 35% off for the books, and just use gift 24 at checkout. And then if you go to the STS or Great Lakes Angler sites, you can get 25% off with the same code gift 24. But then I'm going to be down at the Umpqua Enhancement Derby with guide Chris Hargate at the end of next month. So if anybody wants to be involved, make a donation, sign up for the Derby. I'll put some contact info in the comments below here. But other than that, I think thanks for watching. Was there anything else that you guys want to talk about?
We talked about a lot.
Covered
Of
a lot of
stuff.
stuff.
We talked about.
We'll go till midnight.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of good information out there.
Yeah.
And we
I would
probably need to
say-
go back and cover more at some point. Questions might be asked.
Yeah.
But ask them. You know, I mean, we touched on a lot of stuff and a lot of good stuff on how to go out there and be successful for
We
steelhead.
spend a lot of time out
Let's
there.
see back for
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
What to do?
Yeah, but I mean, we touched on a lot of methods that can set you up to
Super
have success.
effective.
Exactly.
Super, like almost
You know?
like everything that we talked about will
Has its place in
has its
time.
place in time, or that has caught a fish
Consistent.
A lot of time,
consistently.
a lot of time and money wasted.
Just say
Just save real quick by
watching
asking
this, yeah, or asking a question, or going on YouTube.
And that's what's so great about all these videos, you know, whether you're watching our video or other videos that are out there.
We got a question here.
Well, there you go. See, we had to bring it up.
There we go.
This guy's still watching.
Treble and single hooks on spoons.
You gotta read
So, okay, so yeah, what's your opinion between treble and single hooks on spoons? So, Jeff, I will go right there. I run singles.
I run.
Yeah,
I run
don't
side
mess
wash.
around. I run side wash hooks. I think they get them just so much better than a
They
treble.
get it. It's they
Yeah,
just
there we
get it
get that
deeper.
out. Yep.
So
Get in.
in general,
Let's hear your thought, T. Yeah, let's get you in on
okay,
this.
this is why I use side watch. See how if you hook the fish, if he turns or runs or jumps, the hook rotates or turns with it, right? If you got I don't know if I have any trebles. So let's say you got a treble, and here you show that because I'm gonna do the close up camera.
There you go.
If they turn with
Keep talking, T.
if they turn with the treble, they could pull the treble right out of their mouth
Yeah.
like a crowbar. So
It goes back to kind of what I was saying about the plug fishing and those singles.
So they
You
switch
know,
over to the table cam. Here we go.
with the trebles.
I think the action's a little different
Yeah,
with a
see,
single
so-
hook too.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you got two of those three hooks stuck in the fish's mouth, when he goes to turn left or right, one hook is going to try to pull the other
Another
hook.
one out.
And if it's just barely stuck, the
It's gonna
first
pull
hook
out.
will come out.
Yep.
And then the second hook might
You're
pop
kind
out.
of fighting yourself. That's
It's
where
just
the
like
single hook, you kind of corkscrew them with that. Like I'll take my hooks, I'll set them just a touch on the singles,
Yeah.
Yep.
and then that way when they hit it, whether it's barbed or barbless, it's like the corkscrew effect, and it's pulled in deep, and then it has all that moment, all that. I guess where it can swing.
Just like Tony was showing you
Yeah.
on these side washes, how they go with the spoon.
Exactly.
Well, a
It's
treble
pivot
don't go
point.
with the spoon.
No, and then you
And
can
the action's
even,
different from a
Yeah.
treble hook to a
It
single
is
hook.
very different.
and I've even taken my spoons and I put like a little swivel at the bottom, like on the split ring, so that way when you do get one with the single hook, then it can totally just spin. You know, it's the same idea with how I'm running the plugs. Like I'm all about trying to give the fish as many options as they can, and the hook stay in the mouth.
Right.
That's what I think.
So we want to talk. So the sportsman show is coming out. We want to talk about that too. Let's
Yeah, we'll be there. And then what's it? February.
It's like the middle of February this
Portland
year,
show.
isn't it? It's kind of around the middle.
15th or something.
I think
I was
it's
gonna say I thought it was around
15th.
the
Are you
middle.
gonna be there?
Oh, I'm sure I'll be there at the Lamb Glass booth and probably come hang out with you guys, and I'll be around. Got some stuff
Kevin?
going
I'll
on.
be around too. Yep.
Yeah.
I think T. We're gonna do another giveaway if you buy a certain amount of bucks.
Yeah.
I think
free trip.
Free trip. We're gonna go somewhere.
We're going to go to Maui this time.
Hopefully, we go to Australia.
All by some.
Yeah.
No, I think we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna do a trip giveaway if you buy a certain amount.
Right
Get your
on.
name in the hat.
Yeah.
We did it last year. It was fun. The group that we had was awesome. What's funny is we didn't catch any fish that day, but off camera, I actually took both groups and they had the time of their life.
There's so much more to fishing than just catching a fish.
Yeah.
The catching the fish is the icing on the icing on the cake. But
Nice amount of takes.
yeah. But there's so much more to it. Just being out
It's
there.
experience.
Doing it.
It's experience,
Exactly.
and it's something cool that
Yeah. It's fishing.
it's fishing.
There are the seasons where it's literally catching, and winter steelhead is usually not
Not one of them.
But there's the bright spots where we have really good days.
Yep.
And we can really shorten the length of those 1,000 casts. I can tell you that. There's sometimes where it's going to be the fish of 5 casts.
Yep.
And it's just finding those days and hitting them right and being out there and having fun. And it's really cool that you can go from the Columbia Gorge down to the coast and find these winter steelhead in every stream just about.
Even on a banker boat, it doesn't
Exactly.
really matter. There's
For a lot of people, steelhead is kind of the grassroots of fishing. It's where we all
Exact-
began.
that's-
It's where we all learned. And it's where we all always look back on. I mean, that's the starting point for a lot of fishermen. And it's
Yep.
just because you don't need a boat to be successful.
You don't.
Some of the most successful steelhead fishermen out there are bank guys
Yep.
every year.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah,
that's the
Mr.
beauty of it.
Mr. Plunker right here.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that's what's so much fun about winter steelhead is that you can grab some rods and go hike around and just have fun.
It's honestly one of my favorite times of the year.
That's a bank fish.
Exactly. You know, so
That's sleeping in your truck being fish right
nothing wrong with that.
Hearing the bell ring, baby.
That's what makes it so much fun. You know, that's what steelhead fishing is about.
It isn't.
So
It's funny to see, like, I love meeting people. Like, you meet some cool people on the river, like, especially doing it for a while, and then you kind of lose the spark, but then the spark comes back when you see a kid or something on the bank, and he's just like, you're in somewhere deep, and you know what he had to get here, and he just wants to chase it, and then he catches one. I mean, it's like it brings the fire back. It's honestly one of my favorite fishes to chase. It's
the fight.
it's not even catching, it's more of the adventure for me. Oh, we got another one.
Pennsylvania guy. Read it.
yeah.
Thanks, guys. So-
go for it.
Go ahead.
You got a big.
I got bad eyes, dude.
All right, so it says, thanks, guys. Pennsylvania sells Cleos with trebles, but not single hooks. What size hook do you recommend? So
Oh, that's a
with
great
that,
question.
Those threes.
I would fish anywhere from like a 1/0 to a 2/0
Yeah.
single side wash. I would buy Gamakatsu, just their original open ice side wash, or the Big River Bend. I think it's Big River Bend.
Yeah.
Riverbend has a deeper.
Yeah,
It's got a little
cup to it.
deeper cut.
But you want to buy the open ice side wash. That's what I want to stress on when you look for these hooks, because you got to be able to crimp them on over the split ring.
Oh, there we go.
So if you just buy your generic
They
hook,
have that little gap,
Yeah.
bend out part in the opening part in that hook.
so then you use your pliers and you crimp it on.
Yeah.
When you buy them, it'll be open eyed, hence the name.
Yeah, and I've learned that when you crimp the eye on right here, like if you pretend these are your pliers, when you get on the eye, crimp right here, and then do a twist, like a turn. Like if you just crimp right straight on it like that, it's gonna leave a gap. So come to this side, and then as you're crimping, twist.
And then Tony, but why do you put the hook towards the back of your spoon?
That's up for debate. I don't know what's up or what's down too. Like this.
See, so I run
You run on the top?
I run a swivel,
Oh yeah, so
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You just got the split
I do too.
right now.
But this is what I will say. I've always learned with my spoons, you run the hook towards the back. You don't run them so on these.
On the top.
Yeah, however you look, let's grab one. So you can see how it has the cup. So you see how the cup's kind of on the back here. So you have it laid towards the back. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how you want to run them. I think, I don't really know if it matters, but any guy that's been running spoons for a really long time, and if you're not running a swivel on the bottom of it, will tell you need to have your face facing towards the back.
You know, STS had a book that they wrote about.
Technically right.
Certain one.
There is a book that's all.
There is a famous book.
I will say I have that STS book, and I do have it signed by Bill Herzog himself.
Bill?
But man, I
Buy
run
Bill's book.
swivels.
Wish we'd bring that back.
I run some swivels on it, and then does it matter? I don't really know. But if you're gonna set them up, run them like we just showed you. that is like a foolproof way.
Yeah.
And
some guys tie straight.
yeah, you can use like you can use like DAC ball, and you can use like
Well,
I would
hook to the side too with it, right?
yeah. I'm more about I really like the whole swivel deal. I run just a tiny little swivel to your open eye hook, so that way
I run the swivels on my spoons.
yeah, that way you can just twist, because how many times you hook these fish and you got that hook on the side in the side of the mouth and they want to jump and go crazy,
Yeah.
flop around.
Free flow movement.
Exactly.
Free flow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Less restrictions. Better.
Exactly. That's what I'm all
Totally
for as
agree.
well. So
Yeah.
So to answer your question, 1/0 or 2/0 side wash. Those
it just depends on. So I mean, it just depends on it. I mean, like a 1/4 ounce spoon, you could run like a smaller hook.
You could go.
I mean, it's not like the profile of the spoon is generally the same. It's just the thickness. But like littler spoons, I'll run like a 1/0. Like your 2/3 ounce, I always run like 2/0. I'm a big fan of big hooks. I like to get them.
I like them big. I like them
But
deep.
But
I'll get in there, dude.
I would run 1 to 2/0. I would run no smaller than a 1/0 and no bigger than a 2/0 for most of your spoons. That works really well.
I can't remember. Is that a 3?
Yeah.
I'm like a 2.
I look like a
Pretty big.
I look like a 2.
I have to eyeball at the store.
I don't know. Maybe it's maybe a 3.
About a 3/0. I think if I a little bigger than 2/0.
It's a little bigger.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you just know it looks
Right.
right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you
At the store.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's one of those things you just look at it and you know that's the one.
That's what you like.
Yeah. Hopefully, with all our stuff that we shared tonight,
Yeah.
hopefully that can
Yes.
help some people out there,
Right.
you know, and watch this again. Find those videos that we were talking about that's out there to see other ways to rig stuff up and just overall get excited. I mean, the greatest part about winter steelhead is they're in these rivers minutes away from most of our homes.
Yep.
You know, it's not like a salmon deal where you got to be.
you gotta be somewhere on the X.
Yeah, this is
You got
this
to
type
with
Usually, if there's a local river, there's
steelhead.
steelhead around. Like it was funny talking to Grandpa at Christmas. Like he was talking about, you know, the little creek that's behind the house where they live, and he was telling me, he's like when he was 6 years old or something like that, he was, you know, catching steelhead when it was, you know, I would love to see what he was using, but
Worm.
that was worm. Yeah, he was using night crawler,
right.
Sure.
and he said he
fish eat worms.
yeah, just a, you know, a small creek, but it just kind of shows that
Yeah.
just look up your local rivers and see.
Yeah,
what,
I mean
see
that's
what's in
the
there.
coolest thing. There's so many rivers around us that have them, and you could just go on a really cool journey of fishing all these different rivers. I mean, when I was younger, that's what it was for me.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
It's the
Going
adventure.
to all these different rivers and fishing them and having fun and doing all that. Whether you stay here locally or you get to travel to the coast or you go up to Forks, and I mean, it's just really cool. Steelhead will take you on a really great adventure, and that's what's so much fun about it.
Oh, totally.
Well, T.
Yeah. All right. And hey, thanks, Kevin, for
Yeah, thanks, Kevin, for jumping in, and
Thank you for inviting me here. Great.
Tyler, thanks for coming again.
Yeah, it's always good hanging out with everybody. Talking some fishing.
I think we should do this more of this. I think I mean, leave a comment in the comments if you want to see more of this.
We already did. Yeah.
You know, it'd be nice to different topics. Really, it'd be nice to know what kind of topics that. I mean,
If there's different methods that you want to learn about. You want to learn more about the beads, or you want to learn more about worms or spoons or plugs. I mean, we can deep dive.
you can
into
deep
more.
dive.
When you brought up the brood.
Yeah.
The broodstock.
So yeah, and broodstocks over in my neck of the woods in Southwest Washington, we have some changes going on, and I mean,
That's a whole nother.
yeah,
That could be a video in itself.
yeah. And we'll see down the road what these changes will come out to, but we have some good stuff happening in Southwest Washington,
Yep.
and
Oregon too.
Yeah.
We're still going.
Exactly,
Got some. They're getting more.
the good old days of fishing are now. So don't think they're behind us, because they are. You know, in my lifetime, when I look back, the good old days are right now.
Oh yeah.
So we don't want to sleep on that. We want people to get out there, whether you go with us or go with friends.
Get involved
family.
too. Like
Yeah.
you were saying, go to seminars. There's plenty of.
Yeah, go to
You
your
know,
local hatchery. The cool
or
thing
local
about the
hatchery.
steelhead stuff is you can go to your local hatcheries and you can be a part of this later on in winter. You know,
Yeah.
if they need help with anything, you can help out or just become more knowledgeable
Volunteer.
about your river system and what's
Yeah.
going on and what you can do to help your river, or maybe what their plan is for your river. It's just really, really cool that
Yeah.
there's all these outlets where you could be a little bit more informational about what's going on in your local stream.
Yep.
and it really helps, you know.
It does.
Whether, like, I know over in Washington last week, we all just, if you wanted to, you can get scale sample cards. So that way, for all our wild fish, you can start doing scale samples. They teach you where on the fish you want to take them from. But it's cool that we can all help be part of this.
Yep.
So it's really fun.
So ODFW was doing this this year too for me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get their count at the dog wherever you're at.
Yeah,
The pulling
yeah.
skills.
Yeah, so I mean, it's cool. Like over where we're at, we don't get to do the broodstock thing yet. I mean, so being able to help out doing the scale sampling, that's still, we're helping out, you know, and it's really
You're taking a step forward.
yeah, but it's helping out our state, it's helping out my river system,
Yep.
and it's just all hopefully going towards a positive deal. You know, that's what this is about. We want our kids to be able to fish for these fish. We want our grandchildren, and if we don't do positive steps to reassure that we'll have these fish, then
100%.
they're not going to be there. We already know what it's like if fishing's bad. We don't want it to go to that. So
Now, and get involved. Yeah. Getting involved.
get involved.
Get involved. Doing the part.
Right on, you guys.
Yep.
Well, I had fun.
Yeah, thank you.
T, thanks for
Awesome, buddy.
doing this, and
Yeah,
No problem.
can't wait to
can't wait for the rivers to level up
Yeah,
and
no
get back
doubt.
out there. That's for sure. It's going to be good. We're going into January pretty much. It's like the start of like real steelhead fishing.
The funny part is the steelhead will be really good when everyone starts chasing springers. So.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's the best. But still, it's like we messed around in December. We found fish, had
Yep.
fun, realized that there's some fish around. January, it really takes off. We just got to get through the silly sturgeon stuff next week. I say it's silly, but
All right.
we got to get through it.
We got to get through it. We'll sort of work together.
Get through it so I can go back to steelhead fishing. That's what I'm excited for. But I am really excited to hopefully eat some sturgeon too.
Me too.
So, right
Poor
on.
man's lobster. buddy.
Yeah. Right on, you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys.